Welcome back, my friends of the strange and the eerie. Tonight, we're walking into dimly lit corners, down shadowy alleys, and through doors that creak open into another world. New Orleans, a city where jazz and mystery collide, where the night seems to breathe, and where whispers of the past never truly fade. But what if I told you that some of the most chilling encounters in this city aren't found in its cemeteries, nor in its old plantations, but right in the very places where people gather to laugh, drink, and celebrate its bars? Yes, tonight we'll be stepping into the haunted heart of the Big Easy, where glasses don't just clink, they sometimes shatter on their own, where shadows drift across the walls even when the lights are steady, where phantom voices join the conversations of the living, and where spirits of another kind pour themselves into the very atmosphere. So grab your courage, pour yourself a drink, and settle in as we count down the 25 most haunted bars in New Orleans, filled with paranormal activity. Lafitte's Blacksmith Shop Bar, tucked away in the heart of New Orleans' French Quarter, is more than just a historic watering hole. It is a living testament to centuries of mystery, legend, and restless spirits. Built in the 1700s, this creaking brick and timber structure claims the distinction of being one of the oldest bars in the United States, and over the years, it has cultivated a reputation not only for strong drinks and lively music, but also for inexplicable, otherworldly activity that continues to fascinate visitors and locals alike. The bar is believed to have once been owned by the infamous pirate Jean Lafitte, whose exploits along the Gulf Coast earned him both notoriety and mythic status. Legend has it that Lafitte used the building as a base for smuggling and clandestine gatherings, and perhaps it is the shadows of those illicit nights that have lingered through the centuries. Guests and staff alike often report feeling a heavy presence, as if someone unseen watches from the corners of the dimly lit space. Those who stay long enough sometimes claim to see a shadowy figure flit just beyond the candlelight, its outline tall and commanding, vanishing the instant anyone turns to confront it. Many believe this spectral form to be Lafitte himself, still guarding his bar and the secrets it holds. The ambiance of the bar is part of its haunting allure. Narrow hallways lead to small rooms lined with dark wood, and the flickering glow of candles and lanterns casts ever-changing shadows across the brick walls. Patrons frequently notice glasses sliding slightly across tables without human intervention. A cocktail left untouched may tremble, shift, or even topple as though nudged by invisible hands. Staff have reported similar occurrences, describing the feeling of being lightly touched on the shoulder or having a cup lifted from their hands without explanation. These interactions are subtle but unnerving, and they contribute to the bar's reputation as a place where the living and the dead coexist in close quarters. One of the most commonly reported phenomena is the flickering of candle flames in empty corners. Guests may see the warm glow of a candle suddenly flare, illuminating a shape in the shadows, sometimes a face, sometimes a tall figure, before the light stabilizes and reveals nothing at all. Many who have witnessed these fleeting images describe a sensation of being observed, a prickling awareness that someone or something is silently judging their every movement. Those who linger near the fireplace or under the beams often feel a chill despite the warmth of the room, as if the air itself carries the memory of a bygone era, heavy with secrets and the echoes of laughter, whispered conversations, and perhaps clandestine plotting. Stories of Lafitte's blacksmith shop also include auditory phenomena. Guests have reported the faint sounds of footsteps on the worn wooden floors long after the crowd has thinned. Soft murmurs carried over the clinking of glasses, and occasional low, metallic echoes reminiscent of a hammer striking an anvil. Some attribute these sounds to the building's age and creaking structure, but even skeptics find it difficult to dismiss the timing and patterns of the noises. Often, these sounds occur when the bar is nearly empty, or when patrons are seated in what should be the quietest corners, moments when the only explanation seems to be something unseen moving through the shadows. On more than one occasion, photographers and visitors with cameras have reported strange anomalies in their images. Faces appear in the background when no one is standing, or shadows stretch unnaturally across the walls. Some images capture dark shapes that seem to loom over patrons, only to disappear when viewed directly. Paranormal investigators have visited the site multiple times, documenting unusual electromagnetic field spikes and temperature drops in certain areas, especially near the rear rooms and the staircase leading to what was once storage and possibly smuggling areas. These reports only deepen the sense that the bar is inhabited by entities who refuse to rest. Despite, or perhaps because of its haunted reputation, Lafitte's Blacksmith Shop Bar remains a lively and beloved location. The spirits seem to coexist with the living rather than threaten them, as if they are drawn to the vibrancy of the bar, continuing their watch while allowing the revelry to continue. Patrons often joke about being nudged by Lafette himself, and regulars sometimes leave small offerings or tokens as a sign of respect for the unseen guardians of the space. Yet, even the most skeptical visitors often leave with a tingling sense of unease, certain that the bar's history is alive in ways that go beyond storytelling. The bar's location in the heart of the French Quarter adds to its aura of mystique. Narrow streets, wrought iron balconies, and gaslit lamps create an environment where the boundary between the present and the past feels thin. On foggy nights, the cobblestone streets seem to carry echoes of a bygone era, and those who step into Lafitte's blacksmith shop often feel the weight of centuries pressing down upon them. It is this blending of tangible history and spectral presence that makes the bar a focal point for those fascinated by the paranormal. In the end, Lafitte's Blacksmith Shop Bar is more than just a haunted location. It is a living museum of New Orleans' layered past. Here, the story of a pirate, the secrets of smuggling, and the laughter of centuries of patrons are all etched into the walls, floorboards, and shadows. Visitors leave with more than just memories of cocktails and music. They carry the lingering sensation that they were observed, if only for a moment, by something that existed long before them, and will continue to exist long after. For those willing to step through its doors, Lafitte's offers a unique blend of history, revelry, and the unexplained. The flickering lights, sliding glasses, and shadowy figures are reminders that in New Orleans, the past is never truly gone. It lingers in the laughter, in the music, and in the corners of bars like Lafitte's Blacksmith Shop, watchful, enigmatic, and hauntingly alive. The old Absinthe House, nestled in the heart of Bourbon Street, is more than just a historic drinking establishment. It is a repository of centuries of intrigue, revelry, and restless spirits. Established in the early 19th century, the bar has witnessed the passing of eras, the rise and fall of powerful figures, and the secrets of politicians, generals, and influential citizens who once gathered within its walls. Its dark wood, interior ornate mirrors, and centuries-old charm create an atmosphere steeped in history, yet it is the unexplainable phenomena reported by patrons and staff that have cemented its reputation as one of New Orleans' most haunted bars. The haunting of the old Absinthe House is said to stem from the powerful personalities who frequented it during its early years. Generals plotting strategies, politicians negotiating deals, and socialites weaving intrigue all left an invisible imprint on the bar, an energy that seems to linger in the shadows. Visitors often report feeling an unusual heaviness in the air, as if unseen eyes are observing their every move. On quieter nights, when the hustle of Bourbon Street fades and the chatter of patrons dwindles, whispers echo along the walls. These are not ordinary murmurs. They carry the cadence of conversation, often seeming to discuss matters of politics, war, or scandal, just as they might have 2 centuries ago. Patrons have reported seeing figures seated at tables that appear otherwise empty. These apparitions are said to resemble the very generals and politicians who once used the bar for clandestine meetings. They are often described as sitting stiffly, dressed in period clothing, glasses raised as though offering a toast to an invisible companion. Witnesses recount the uneasy feeling of watching a spectral figure gesture with a glass, only for it to vanish when approached, leaving behind the faint scent of tobacco or aged liquor. The sensation of being in the presence of someone who existed in another century is both thrilling and unnerving, creating a palpable tension in the room. Beyond the visual apparitions, the old Absinthe House is known for auditory anomalies. Footsteps echo across the wooden floors when no one else is in the bar. The creak of a chair or the clink of a glass occurs without explanation, and the faint murmur of conversation often rises and falls with no living source. Staff members have described hearing low, urgent tones, like whispered debates or the quiet scheming of powerful individuals long gone. At times, the whispers seem to drift from one end of the bar to the other, leaving listeners with a sensation that the figures are moving unseen, carrying on their discussions in perpetual secrecy. Some visitors have noted sudden temperature changes, particularly near the back rooms and the old billiards area, where cold drafts sweep across patrons even when the front doors are closed and the air conditioning is off. These chills are often accompanied by an uneasy feeling, a prickling awareness that someone or something is present just beyond the edge of vision. Even seasoned locals, accustomed to the bar's lively energy and historic ambience, have described moments when the hair on the back of their neck stands on end, or when they feel a subtle tug at their clothing or shoulder. The mirrors lining the walls of the old Absinthe House have their own eerie reputation. On occasion, reflections appear to show more than the living patrons present in the room. Faces from another era sometimes shimmer faintly in the glass, observing the current guests or lingering behind their reflections before vanishing. Photographers have captured strange anomalies, such as shadowy figures that do not correspond to anyone in the photograph, or faint silhouettes near the bar that seem to hover just beyond the visible frame. These visual oddities reinforce the bar's reputation as a place where the past never truly lets go. In addition to these spectral sightings, some of the bar's most compelling encounters involve the sensation of phantom interaction. Glasses may tip or rattle, gently chairs might move slightly, and the weight of invisible hands is occasionally felt when patrons sit in certain areas, particularly near the back corners of the bar, where the energy is said to be strongest. Guests have described fleeting sensations of being brushed by a hand, or of an unseen presence leaning in close, as though to share a whispered word or secret. While these experiences are subtle, they leave a lasting impression, deepening the sense that the old Absinthe House is more than a historical landmark. It is a conduit to a past that continues to coexist alongside the present. The bar's location on Bourbon Street amplifies its haunting aura, amid the music, laughter, and revelry of the city's famed nightlife. The presence of the past feels almost like a counterpoint. Patrons who enter expecting only drinks and conversation sometimes find themselves caught between centuries, glimpsing shadows from another time or hearing murmurs of political intrigue echoing through the din. These moments, brief as they may be, create a sense of continuity, reminder that the lives and stories of those who walked these streets long ago are never truly gone. Despite or perhaps because of its haunted reputation, the old Absinthe House remains a vibrant and beloved bar. The spirits, it seems, do not seek to harm the living. Rather, they linger as witnesses, participants, and perhaps even silent hosts, sharing in the ongoing life of the establishment they once knew. Patrons often describe a feeling of companionship, of being observed without malice, as if the echoes of history have chosen to inhabit the space alongside the current generation. The old Absinthe House is more than a bar. It is a living repository of New Orleans history, a place where the past and present overlap in ways both thrilling and unsettling. Here, centuries of plotting generals, calculating politicians, and spirited revelers continue their eternal toasts, leaving the living with an experience that is equal parts entertainment and uncanny encounter. Every flickering candle, shifting shadow, and whispered conversation serves as a reminder that some histories are never truly buried, and that in New Orleans, the echoes of the past are always just a heartbeat away. For those who dare to enter, the old Absinthe House offers not only its signature cocktails, but also a glimpse into a world where the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than anyone might imagine. The spirits here, ever watchful, seem content to raise a glass with those who honor their presence, ensuring that the legacy of the bar, its patrons, and its secrets will never be forgotten. Muriel's Jackson Square, located in the heart of New Orleans, is widely celebrated for its Creole cuisine and elegant atmosphere. But it is the upstairs lounge that has captured the fascination of paranormal enthusiasts and thrill seekers alike. This small, dimly lit space is steeped in history and tragedy, offering more than culinary delights. It offers a direct connection to the past, where spirits are said to linger, unwilling to move on. The story of the lounge is intrinsically tied to Pierre Antoine Lapartie Girardin, a man whose life ended in despair, yet whose presence continues to be felt by those who enter the space he once called home. Pierre Antoine Lapartie Girardin was a prominent figure in early 19th century New Orleans, known for his sharp mind, charming demeanor, and unfortunately, his misfortune in gambling. After losing his house in a high-stakes poker game, Girardin's life took a tragic turn, culminating in his untimely death. Legend has it that he could not bear to leave the home where he had invested so much of himself, and his spirit remained tethered to the location, bound by the weight of loss, regret, and unfinished business. Today, the lounge occupies what was once Girardin's residence, and the energy left behind by his life and death seems to permeate every corner of the space. Visitors to the lounge have consistently reported an unsettling sense of being observed, as though invisible eyes track their every move. This feeling intensifies near the small, reserved table that is said to have been Girardin's favorite. Patrons often find that the chairs around this table are never quite in the same place they left them, sometimes slightly shifted or turned as if someone had just sat down. Glasses and other small objects are known to move without explanation, occasionally tipping over or shattering in moments of eerie silence. These incidents are not always loud or aggressive. Rather, they are subtle, deliberate gestures, as if the spirit of Girardin is making his presence known in a quiet, almost mournful way. Footsteps are among the most frequently reported phenomena in the lounge. Staff have recounted hearing the distinct sound of shoes tapping against the wooden floors above, footsteps pacing slowly along the corridor, or the faint shuffle of someone moving through the room when the space is entirely empty. Visitors who have lingered upstairs into the late hours report hearing these same sounds, often followed by the sensation of a sudden chill, as though the air itself has been altered by the passage of an unseen presence. These auditory cues are so specific that they cannot be easily attributed to the building's age or creaking floors, lending credibility to the claims of those who experienced them firsthand. Some guests have described more visual encounters, particularly when the room is dimly lit or illuminated only by candlelight. Shadows seem to shift along the walls, forming vague outlines that vanish when looked at directly. Occasionally, patrons swear they have glimpsed a figure in the corner of the lounge, dressed in 19th century attire, sitting silently or pacing slowly before disappearing into thin air. Mirrors and reflective surfaces in the lounge occasionally reveal distortions or faint images that cannot be explained by reflections of the living, further reinforcing the notion that the space is occupied by a presence from another time. The atmosphere of the lounge is unlike any other part of Muriel's. While the restaurant downstairs hums with conversation and laughter, the upstairs feels suspended in time, a place where the past refuses to yield to the present. Even during the bustling hours of the day, there is a palpable weight to the air of quiet tension that suggests that some of the occupants of the space are not entirely living. The lounge has been meticulously preserved, with tables, chairs, and decor that maintain the character of the 19th century, which some say strengthens the connection between the modern world and the lingering spirit of Girardin. Paranormal investigators have occasionally visited the lounge, documenting anomalies that seem to defy conventional explanation. Temperature fluctuations are common, with sudden cold spots appearing near the table associated with Girardin. Electronic devices have been known to malfunction or record unexplained readings during their time in the space. AVP sessions capture faint whispers that, when played back, sound like fragmented sentences or sighs, as though the spirit is attempting to communicate, but remains just beyond the reach of the living. Despite these occurrences, The spirit of Jordan does not appear to be malevolent. Staff and visitors describe the interactions as quiet and measured, more like the presence of someone who has chosen to linger rather than someone who wishes harm. The incident's chairs moving, footsteps echoing, glasses tipping are often interpreted as gestures of acknowledgement or silent communication, a subtle reminder that the past continues to exist alongside the present. Patrons who are aware of the history often report feeling an odd companionship with the space, sensing that the spirit of Jordan is watching, but in a way that is protective or attentive rather than threatening. The lounge also carries an aura of melancholy, reflecting the tragedy of Jordan's life. The quiet sounds, shifting shadows, and cold drafts all combine to create a sense of a story paused in time, a life interrupted but not forgotten. Visitors often leave with a lingering impression that they have stepped not just into a bar or restaurant, but into a historical tableau, where past and present meet, where loss and longing are tangible, and where a spirit quietly observes the world he left behind. Ultimately, Muriel's Jackson Square Lounge is more than a haunted location. It is a testament to history, memory, and the lingering presence of those who cannot tour, will not move on. The interplay between its tragic past and vibrant present creates a unique experience for anyone who steps into the space. Patrons leave with more than just the memory of a meal or a drink. They carry the sense of having been in the company of someone from another century, a presence that watches, interacts, and silently reminds them that some stories never truly end. For those who venture into the lounge, the past is never far away. The flickering candlelight, the subtle movement of objects, the echoes of footsteps, and the faint whispers all serve as reminders that Pierre-Antoine Leopardi, Jordan's spirit, is still there, quietly observing, eternally seated at a table that has waited for him across the centuries. The Court of Two Sisters, nestled in the French Quarter of New Orleans, is widely celebrated for its charming courtyard, jazz brunches, and rich Creole cuisine. Yet, beyond its vibrant dining experience, lies a storied past, one that has given rise to whispers of spectral activity in the bar and adjoining areas. This historic establishment, with its iron-wrought balconies, vintage furnishings, and intimate nooks, has been standing since the 19th century. And over the decades, it has accumulated more than just tales of great meals and lively music. It has become a repository for restless spirits, whose presence continues to captivate visitors and locals alike. The most frequently reported paranormal activity centers around the bar area and its surrounding hallways. Patrons often speak of hearing soft laughter echoing through empty spaces, delicate and melodic, reminiscent of women in conversation long ago. Unlike startling or aggressive hauntings, these sounds are gentle, almost inviting, yet they carry an otherworldly quality that immediately signals that something unseen is present. Guests who pause to listen report the laughter fading and returning in waves, sometimes coinciding with moments when no other patrons are nearby, as if the sounds exist independently of the living world. Mirrors within the establishment have their own peculiar reputation. Many visitors claim that reflections occasionally reveal figures dressed in elaborate 19th-century gowns, standing in spaces where no one is actually present. These apparitions are most often glimpsed in peripheral vision shapes that vanish when directly looked at. They leave a distinct impression, a fleeting image that feels impossibly real. Staff members have described seeing these figures gliding past mirrors or appearing briefly behind the bar, only to disappear when approached. The spectral women seem to linger without malevolence, their presence more akin to lingering memories of the past than active hauntings with intent to frighten. The architecture of the Court of Two Sisters contributes to the eerie ambience. Narrow hallways, low-lit corridors, and polished wood floors create an environment where sounds carry and shadows play. Patrons walking through these areas sometimes hear the faint shuffle of skirts or the soft tap of shoes against the wood, subtle enough to be dismissed at first, yet recurring with such consistency that they cannot be ignored. Even during the busiest hours, when laughter and music dominate the courtyard, these quieter, ghostly echoes maintain a presence, often drawing attention to corners and spaces that might otherwise go unnoticed. Visitors also report sensations of being observed. This feeling is most pronounced near the mirrors and alcoves of the bar area, where the historic furnishings retain an aura of their 19th century origins. Patrons have described moments when the air suddenly feels cooler, accompanied by a tingling sensation along the back of the neck or a subtle pressure at their shoulders, as if someone or something is close by. These interactions are fleeting, leaving no visible trace, but they reinforce the notion that the spirits are both attentive and aware of the living world around them. Glassware and small objects sometimes behave in ways that defy explanation. Drinks left unattended may tremble slightly or shift positions, and occasional items may topple from shelves or counters without any discernible cause. While the activity is never violent, the subtlety of these movements lends weight to the idea that the spirits of the past are interacting with the present, their actions gentle yet undeniable. Some patrons interpret these occurrences as a form of acknowledgement, a way for the spirits to assert their continued presence without directly alarming the living. The history of the Court of Two Sisters enhances the plausibility of these experiences. For more than a century, it has served as a gathering place for socialites, families, and visitors from near and far. Many of the spectral sightings and sounds are believed to be remnants of the women who once frequented the bar. Women whose lives and stories have been woven into the very fabric of the building. Their presence is particularly noted during evening hours, when the lights are dim, shadows stretch across the polished floors, and the courtyard outside becomes a quiet backdrop for their ethereal whispers. Paranormal investigators and curious visitors alike have attempted to capture evidence of these hauntings. Photographs occasionally reveal faint shapes in mirrors or shadowy forms lingering near the bar. Audio recordings have picked up subtle laughter or murmured voices that cannot be attributed to any living source. Temperature anomalies, particularly sudden chills near the hallways and mirror-lined sections, are also commonly reported. Each piece of evidence adds to the growing belief that the Court of Two Sisters is home to lingering presences from a bygone era. Their ties to the bar and courtyard, too strong to sever even in death. Despite the spectral activity, the Court of Two Sisters maintains an inviting and warm atmosphere. The spirits, it seems, do not disrupt the business or create harm. Rather, they coexist alongside the patrons, silently observing and occasionally interacting in ways that are subtle and often respectful. Some visitors report feeling a curious companionship, a sense that the past and present are intertwined, allowing them to experience the charm and elegance of the historic bar while remaining keenly aware of the lives that once animated it. Ultimately, the Court of Two Sisters offers more than a glimpse into New Orleans dining. It provides a portal into history where the past lingers, delicate and persistent, in the shadows, reflections, and whispers. The soft laughter, the fleeting apparitions, and the subtle movements of objects serve as reminders that the spirits of the women who once graced the bar continue their quiet watch. Patrons leave not only with memories of cuisine and conversation, but with a lingering sense of having been touched by a presence from another time. A testament to the enduring allure of one of New Orleans' most haunted establishments. In stepping inside the Court of Two Sisters, guests are invited to experience a rare intersection of history, elegance, and the unexplained, a place where the women of the past still wander, their laughter echoing softly through the centuries, ensuring that the legacy of the bar and its stories will never fade. Pat O'Brien's Bar in New Orleans is known worldwide for its lively atmosphere, iconic hurricane cocktails, and the dueling piano lounge that fills the night with music and laughter. Yet beneath the jovial energy and festive lights, there exists a quieter, darker presence that lingers when the crowds have gone home. For decades, staff and patrons alike have reported strange, unexplainable occurrences that suggest the bar is more than just a place for drinks. It is a gathering ground for spirits who have refused to leave the city's vibrant heart. Many visitors first notice the piano music, even after the dueling piano lounge closes for the night. Some claim they can hear the soft strains of piano keys echoing through empty hallways and across the courtyard. The melodies are sometimes slow and haunting, other times brisk and lively, as if the ghosts of past performers are continuing their duties long after the living have gone. Staff who worked late have described moments when the music seems to respond to the room, rising in volume when footsteps approach, or fading to near silence when someone stops to listen, creating an eerie, almost conversational rhythm between the living and the dead. The courtyard is another hotspot for paranormal activity. The famous flaming fountain, a centerpiece of Pat O'Brien's outdoor area, seems to attract shadowy figures after dark. Visitors have glimpsed dark silhouettes moving near the fountain, figures that vanish the instant they are fully observed. Some describe seeing the outline of a man in a suit or a woman in period attire, standing silently by the fire, watching as if supervising the ongoing festivities from the other side. The shadows are fleeting yet unmistakable, leaving a lingering sense that unseen eyes are always present, even in moments of quiet solitude. Staff members have also reported other unexplained phenomena throughout the building. Glasses occasionally slide across the bar without being touched. Chairs tilt as if someone just rose from them, and doors can creak open or shut with no discernible cause. Many employees have come to accept these occurrences as part of the bar's character, referring to them jokingly as the phantom patrons or the ghostly bartenders who refuse to end their shift. While none of the phenomena are aggressive, they leave an undeniable impression on anyone who experiences them, creating a subtle tension that underlies the bar's energetic charm. Visitors often recount a mixed sense of excitement and unease, while the bright lights, music, and laughter fill the main areas of the bar. There is a palpable awareness that the space holds memories far older than any living guest. The spirits of former patrons, performers, and perhaps even bartenders seem to linger, tied to the energy of the place they once called home. They appear to continue their roles in a world parallel to our own, shaping the atmosphere of Pat O'Brien's in subtle, ghostly ways. Pat O'Brien's Bar is more than a landmark for cocktails and live music. It is a place where New Orleans' layered history of celebration and loss converges, leaving behind traces of spirits who cannot or will not. Guests may enter seeking a drink or a night of entertainment, but they leave with a sense that the bar is alive in a way that transcends the ordinary, a place where the living and the dead share the same courtyard, the same music, and the same enduring energy. Napoleon House, located in the heart of New Orleans' French Quarter, is a storied establishment with a history as intriguing as its cuisine and cocktails. Originally built in the late 18th century, the building was intended to serve as a refuge for Napoleon Bonaparte. Though history took a different turn over the centuries, Napoleon House has transitioned from its early historical purpose to a lively bar and restaurant, yet its walls continue to hold echoes of the past. Patrons and staff alike have reported experiences that suggest the presence of spirits lingering in the building as though they are unwilling or unable to leave. One of the most frequently reported phenomena is the sound of ghostly footsteps along the staircase. Visitors ascending or descending often hear the soft tap of shoes on the worn wooden steps, even when no one else is in the building. The footsteps vary in pace and intensity, sometimes slow and deliberate, other times hurried, as if the unseen figure has been startled or is hurrying to attend to some forgotten duty. Staff members have recounted pausing mid-conversation, listening to the rhythmic creak of the stairs, only to find the space empty when they investigate. These sounds are so consistent that many believe they are tied to a lingering spirit, perhaps one associated with the building's original purpose as a refuge or with the generations of residents and visitors who have come and gone over the centuries. Cold spots are another hallmark of Napoleon House's haunting. Areas near the bar, in particular, have been described as feeling suddenly frigid, even on warm evenings, when the air elsewhere in the restaurant remains comfortable. Patrons have reported standing in a corner and feeling a sudden chill that runs along their spine, accompanied by a subtle pressure or sensation of being observed. These cold drafts are unpredictable and localized, often appearing in one corner while the rest of the room remains unaffected. Some believe these temperature fluctuations are tied to the presence of spirits who are aware of, but separate from, the living. The piano, another iconic element of Napoleon House, is said to have its own spectral occupant. Several guests have described hearing the faint strains of classical music drifting from the piano even when no one is playing. The melodies are often incomplete, fragmented, or subtle, but they carry an unmistakable human quality. Patrons who pause to listen describe the music as both haunting and beautiful, adding a layer of mystery to the restaurant's historic atmosphere. In some instances, staff have reported that the music seems to react to their presence, becoming slightly louder or shifting in tempo as if acknowledging the living. This phenomenon has given rise to speculation that the piano may be played by a spirit connected to the building's past. Someone who was once accustomed to entertaining, communicating, or simply passing the time through music. Mirrors and reflective surfaces also contribute to Napoleon House's haunted reputation. Some guests have reported catching glimpses of figures in old-fashioned attire, lingering behind them, only to vanish when they turn. Staff members have noted subtle movements in reflections that do not correspond with anyone in the room, suggesting that the building itself preserves traces of its former inhabitants. These fleeting images are often peripheral, appearing at the edges of vision, and reinforce the sense that the past and present coexist in a delicate balance within the establishment. The building's architecture and layout appear to enhance these experiences. High ceilings, narrow stairways, and thick walls create acoustics that carry sounds unnaturally, amplifying the creak of footsteps, faint whispers, and piano strains. Wooden floors and iron railings provide surfaces that seem to react subtly to unseen movement, producing noises that can be both eerie and enchanting. Many believe that the combination of history, architecture, and lingering energies has created an environment where spirits feel comfortable remaining close to the living. Patrons have also reported other subtle interactions that suggest a spirit's playful or watchful presence. Chairs may be found slightly shifted, objects like menus or glassware occasionally move, and small, unexplained noises, like the faint clink of a glass, frequently occur when no one is nearby. These occurrences are never violent or threatening. Rather, they create an atmosphere of awareness, a reminder that the building's occupants are not entirely human, but remain engaged with the ongoing life of the establishment. Despite its spectral activity, Napoleon House continues to be a warm and welcoming space. The spirits seem content to coexist with the living, contributing to the bar and restaurant's unique charm, rather than creating fear or disruption. Many patrons describe the experience as a connection to history, a sense of stepping back into a time when the building was new, and its residents and visitors walked its halls long before them. There is a sense of continuity, as though the spirits are quietly observing, maintaining their presence while allowing life to carry on around them. Ultimately, Napoleon House is more than just a bar or restaurant. It is a living museum, a place where history and the paranormal intertwine. The creaking of the stairs, the sudden cold spots near the bar, the faint strains of piano music, and the fleeting glimpses in mirrors all serve as reminders that the building is inhabited by echoes of the past. Patrons leave not only with memories of food and drink, but with the sense of having stepped into a world where the living and the spirits share the same space, each aware of the other's presence. In visiting Napoleon House, guests encounter a rare blend of history, culture, and the supernatural. The spirits may be quiet, elusive, and subtle, but their presence adds an unmistakable depth to the experience, reminding everyone who steps through its doors that some stories, like those of Napoleon House, are never truly finished. They linger, watching, listening, and echoing across time. Antoine's Restaurant is one of New Orleans' most celebrated dining institutions, renowned for its Creole cuisine, opulent, and storied history. Within its walls lies the Hermes Bar, a more intimate space where guests come to enjoy carefully crafted cocktails, soak in the historic atmosphere, and, according to numerous accounts, encounter the lingering spirits of the past. Though Antoine's is celebrated for its culinary legacy, the Hermes Bar has quietly become a focal point for reports of paranormal activity, giving it a mystique that complements its elegance and history. The most frequently reported experiences in the Hermes Bar involve apparitions of former staff members, Patrons and employees alike have recounted glimpsing figures moving through the rooms, figures dressed in period attire, sometimes appearing behind the bar or gliding across the polished floors. These apparitions are often fleeting, vanishing when approached or when attention is fully focused on them. But their presence leaves a lasting impression. Some guests have described seeing a bartender polishing glasses in the early morning, only to find the room empty moments later, with no trace of the figure they had just observed. In addition to visual phenomena, tactile encounters are commonly reported. Visitors frequently feel subtle brushes against their shoulders or arms, as if unseen hands are passing by. These touches are never threatening. Instead, they feel light, deliberate, and almost playful, a gentle reminder of the spirit's presence. Staff members have described the sensation while serving cocktails, cleaning tables, or walking between rooms, sometimes accompanied by the faint sounds of footsteps or the quiet shifting of furniture. These experiences contribute to a sense that the Hermes Bar is not merely a historic setting, but a space where the past continues to inhabit the present. Auditory phenomena are also prevalent in the Hermes Bar. Guests often report hearing soft whispers, the clinking of glasses when no one is near, or muffled conversations echoing through the room. These sounds are particularly noticeable during quiet moments, late in the evening or in the early hours of the morning, when the regular bustle of the restaurant has subsided. Patrons have described hearing phrases in French or English, often indistinct but recognizable as human speech. Staff members sometimes hear faint instructions, like a bartender calling out an order or a waiter requesting a drink, though the voices belong to no one in the room. The bar's antique furnishings and layout seem to enhance the supernatural experiences. Heavy wooden bars, ornate mirrors, and polished floors create reflections and acoustics that amplify faint movements and sounds. Shadows play across the walls and corners in ways that can make fleeting apparitions appear more lifelike. Many believe that the building's historic atmosphere, its creaking floors, low ceilings, and century-old beams acts as a conduit, allowing the memories and energies of past employees to linger, visible and audible to those sensitive enough to perceive them. Visitors have also reported small, inexplicable movements of objects within the Hermes Bar. Glasses sometimes slide slightly on the counters. Chairs are occasionally found out of place, and menus may be shifted as if someone unseen has adjusted them. These actions are subtle and never destructive, often going unnoticed until observed by attentive staff or guests. Patrons often interpret them as playful gestures from the lingering spirits, adding to the sense that the bar is alive with activity beyond the living. Temperature fluctuations are another hallmark of the hauntings. Certain areas of the bar, particularly near the corners and by the antique bar itself, are reported to be noticeably colder than the surrounding space. Patrons have described sudden chills that sweep across their bodies, sometimes accompanied by the faint sensation of being observed. These cold spots, combined with the visual and auditory phenomena, create an unmistakable impression that Antoine's Hermes Bar is a place where the past and present coexist in subtle but persistent ways. Despite these eerie experiences, the Hermes Bar remains a welcoming and vibrant environment. The spirits, it seems, do not disrupt the business or create fear among patrons. On the contrary, many visitors describe a comforting presence, a feeling that the former staff members are quietly overseeing the bar, preserving its traditions and maintaining its charm. The interactions between the living and the spectral are subtle, respectful, and often regarded as part of the establishment's unique character, enhancing its allure rather than diminishing it. Over the decades, Antoine's Hermes Bar has accumulated countless stories of spectral encounters, each reinforcing its reputation as a place where history lingers vividly. The apparitions of bartenders and waitstaff, the soft whispers, the gentle brushes of unseen hands, and the shifting objects all serve as reminders that the bar's past is never truly gone. Patrons leave not only with memories of expertly crafted cocktails and refined surroundings, but also with a sense of having shared the space with those who worked there long before, their spirits still attentive to the life of the bar. Ultimately, Antoine's Hermes Bar offers more than a traditional nightlife experience. It provides a window into the past, a place where the lives and memories of those who came before continue to exist alongside the living. The subtle touches, the faint sounds, and the fleeting figures are not sources of fear, but of fascination. A living connection to the rich history of New Orleans. Each visit is an opportunity to feel the presence of the bar's previous caretakers, to recognize their enduring watch, and to experience a unique blend of history, elegance, and the supernatural in a space that has welcomed patrons for generations. In stepping into Antoine's Hermes Bar, guests encounter a rare intersection of time and spirit, where the echoes of the past mingle seamlessly with the life of the present. The ghosts are unobtrusive but undeniable, participating in the bar's ongoing story and ensuring that the legacy of Antoine's endures, not only in its cuisine and cocktails, but in the memories of those who still roam its halls unseen. The dungeon, nestled deep within the twisting streets of New Orleans' French Quarter, is a bar that prides itself on a dark, macabre theme. Dim lighting, stone walls, and Gothic give the establishment an eerie atmosphere, perfect for patrons seeking a thrill. But beyond the intentional ambience, countless visitors and staff have reported experiences that suggest the dungeon is more than just a theatrically haunted bar. It's a place where spirits linger, weaving themselves into the very fabric of the building. One of the most frequently reported phenomena at the dungeon involves shadowy figures moving throughout the halls. Guests have described seeing fleeting silhouettes gliding past corners or standing momentarily near darkened doorways, only to vanish when approached. The figures are often human-shaped but lacking clear details, giving them a ghostly, ethereal quality. Patrons report that these apparitions rarely behave aggressively. Instead, they seem curious or watchful, as if observing the living and maintaining a presence within the space they once inhabited. Staff members have recounted instances where the shadows appear near the bar or along the narrow corridors, creating an unsettling but strangely compelling effect on anyone nearby. Mirrors play a particularly significant role in the dungeon's haunted reputation. Several visitors claim to have seen faces lingering in the reflective surfaces long after the bar has closed for the night. These faces are often pale and expressionless, sometimes appearing to stare directly at the observer before fading away. Bartenders and servers have noted instances where they glance at a mirror during their shift and catch a fleeting image of someone standing behind them, only to find no one present when they turn. The reflections seem to exist independently of the physical world, suggesting that the mirrors serve as portals or windows into the residual energy of past patrons or perhaps former occupants of the building. Objects moving on their own are another common occurrence. Glasses, napkins, and bar tools occasionally shift slightly from their original positions, and doors sometimes open or close without explanation. Patrons have recounted small, inexplicable incidents: a coaster sliding across the table, a chair slightly angled differently from when it was left, or a bottle nudged gently along the counter. Staff often witness these movements and report them to management. Though the occurrences are subtle, rarely causing any damage, these phenomena contribute to a sense that the building itself is alive with residual energy, aware of the living who move through it while echoing the actions of spirits long past. Auditory experiences are particularly common at the dungeon. Guests frequently report hearing soft footsteps echoing through the stone corridors, faint whispers near the walls, or the subtle scrape of objects being shifted when no one is present. These sounds are often most pronounced late at night, when the bustle of the crowd has faded and the bar is nearly empty. Some patrons describe hearing voices in multiple languages, or murmured conversations that stop abruptly when approached. Staff have even reported hearing a faint, sorrowful laugh, or the distant echo of a voice calling a name. Adding to the eerie atmosphere that permeates the establishment, cold spots are another hallmark of the dungeon's paranormal activity. Certain areas of the bar, especially near corners and by doorways, are often noticeably colder than the surrounding space, even on warm nights. Patrons have described the chill as sudden and sharp, accompanied by the unsettling sensation of being watched or followed. Staff have also noted these temperature fluctuations, particularly in the bar's older sections, suggesting that these areas are focal points for residual energy or the presence of spirits. The cold spots, combined with shadowy figures and moving objects, create a multi-sensory experience that leaves a lasting impression on anyone who spends time in the dungeon. The building's architecture seems to enhance these supernatural occurrences. Stone walls, low ceilings, and narrow passageways create acoustics that carry sounds unnaturally, amplifying whispers, footsteps, and subtle noises. The dim, flickering lighting casts shadows that appear to move independently, sometimes creating the illusion of figures where none exists. Many believe that the combination of history, layout, and energy has created a space where the spiritual and physical worlds intersect, allowing ghosts to make their presence known to the living in subtle yet unmistakable ways. Despite the unsettling experiences reported, the dungeon remains a popular and lively destination. The hauntings, rather than deterring visitors, contribute to the bar's reputation as a unique, immersive experience. Many patrons actively seek out the eerie corners, hoping to catch a glimpse of a shadow or feel a brush of cold air, viewing the paranormal activity as part of the bar's charm. Staff members, while occasionally startled, have grown accustomed to the subtle interactions, understanding them as a testament to the establishment's rich history and lingering presence of those who once walked its halls. The dungeon's hauntings seem to serve as both entertainment and a bridge to the past. Shadowy figures, mysterious movements, faces in mirrors, and whispering voices all create an environment where the history of the building feels alive. Guests leave not only with memories of drinks and conversation, but also with a sense of having shared the space with unseen inhabitants, witnesses to a world layered beneath the surface of the bar. The spirits, while unseen and elusive, remain an integral part of the dungeon, a constant reminder that New Orleans' French Quarter is a city where history and the supernatural coexist seamlessly. Ultimately, the dungeon is more than just a themed bar. It is a place where the living and the dead meet, even if only briefly. The shadows, whispers, moving objects, and icy drafts are not meant to terrify, but to remind visitors of the rich tapestry of lives, energy, and history contained within the walls. For anyone stepping into the dungeon, the experience is both chilling and captivating, offering a glimpse into the unseen world that continues to linger, quietly guiding, watching, and participating in the life of this uniquely haunted establishment. The Columns Hotel Bar, nestled in the historic Garden District of New Orleans, is a place of elegance and charm, where visitors enjoy cocktails and conversation amid the refinement of a former Southern mansion. But beyond its stately charm and polished woodwork lies a legacy steeped in whispers, shadowed hallways, and unexplained phenomena. Guests and staff have long reported experiences that suggest the Columns Hotel Bar is more than a living space. It is a resting place for spirits who remain tied to its history, quietly watching over the building and those who enter its doors. One of the most commonly reported apparitions is that of a woman in white. Patrons have described seeing her drifting through the hallways, often appearing near the bar or along the corridors leading to guest rooms. She moves with a slow, deliberate grace, her presence marked by a subtle glow and the soft rustle of her gown. Those who have encountered her report a mix of awe and unease. She never speaks, never interacts aggressively, but her gaze when noticed seems filled with longing, as though waiting for someone who never arrived. Staff members have recounted seeing her pause in doorways or near the bar, vanishing moments later when approached. The woman in white is not the only spectral presence reported in the bar. Many visitors have experienced a sense of being watched, an intangible awareness that someone unseen is present. Guests often report subtle touches, a brush against a shoulder, or a fleeting sensation of someone passing close by despite being alone in the room. These encounters are usually brief and gentle, leaving an impression rather than fear, and many patrons interpret them as the lingering care of a spirit tied to the mansion as past. Auditory phenomena are also common in the Columns Hotel Bar. Patrons and staff have described hearing soft footsteps along the wooden floors when no one is present, the gentle creak of doors opening or closing, and faint whispers echoing through the halls. Some visitors report hearing indistinct conversations, the murmurs of a long-forgotten gathering, or the subtle sounds of music drifting from rooms that have long been unoccupied. These echoes are often accompanied by sudden changes in temperature, with cold spots appearing near corners, the staircase, or the bar itself. Guests describe these chills as sharp and unmistakable, often triggering a shiver or goosebumps as they sense the presence of something unseen. The architecture of the Columns Hotel Bar seems to amplify these paranormal experiences. High ceilings, narrow corridors, and thick walls create acoustics that carry faint noises in unusual ways, sometimes making distant sounds appear right beside a guest. Polished wooden floors and ornate railings seem to respond to invisible movements, creaking and shifting in ways that are difficult to attribute to natural causes. Staff members often notice these phenomena during quiet hours when the building is largely empty, and many speculate that the mansion's long history serves as a kind of vessel, preserving the energy of those who lived and passed there long ago. Reflective surfaces, including mirrors and polished brass fixtures, often play a central role in the hotel's hauntings. Guests have reported seeing fleeting images of the woman in white in mirrors, only for the reflection to disappear when fully observed. Occasionally, mirrors reveal movement where no one is present or capture a shadow flitting across the room. These visual anomalies add to the sense that the mansion's past is not entirely confined to memory, but exists alongside the living, subtly interacting with those who enter its spaces. Objects sometimes seem to move of their own accord. Chairs may be slightly shifted from where they were left, glassware may tilt, and bar tools occasionally appear in places where they had not been set down. These occurrences are subtle and usually go unnoticed at first, but repeated sightings reinforce the impression that spirits linger, gently influencing their surroundings. Patrons often interpret these incidents as playful or watchful gestures, as if the woman in white and other unseen residents are maintaining the bar and the mansion in their own quiet way. Despite these supernatural reports, the Columns Hotel Bar remains a warm and inviting destination. The hauntings are subtle rather than threatening, often adding an air of mystery that enhances the historic elegance of the space. Guests find that the paranormal activity becomes part of the experience, a connection to the past that enriches the atmosphere rather than detracts from it. Staff members, while occasionally startled, have grown accustomed to the presence of these spirits, recognizing them as part of the mansion's enduring character and history. Visitors frequently describe a sense of stepping back in time when they enter the bar. The combination of refined ambient lighting and the subtle interactions with the unseen creates an immersive environment where history feels alive. The woman in white, the whispered echoes, and the occasional chill serve as reminders that the mansion has a story beyond its architecture, a story inhabited by spirits who have not yet moved on. Many patrons leave with the impression that they have shared the space with someone from another era, a silent witness who continues to watch over the Columns Hotel Bar. Ultimately, the Columns Hotel Bar is more than a historic venue. It is a place where the past and present coexist. The lingering spirit of the woman in white, along with the subtle sounds, touches, and visual phenomena, create a unique atmosphere that draws visitors into a world where history, elegance, and the supernatural intersect. Each visit offers not only the enjoyment of cocktails and conversation, but also the rare experience of feeling connected to the lives that came before. For anyone who enters the Columns Hotel Bar, the experience is layered and unforgettable. Guests may sip a drink at the bar while feeling the gentle presence of a spirit nearby, glance at a mirror and catch a fleeting image, or pause to hear the soft echo of footsteps along the hallway. These encounters are not meant to terrify but to enchant, offering a window into a past that remains vividly alive within the walls. The Columns Hotel Bar stands as a testament to New Orleans' ability to preserve history in both tangible and intangible forms, where the spirits of its former residents continue their watch silently. sharing their world with those who enter. The Carousel Bar and Lounge, located within the historic Hotel Monteleone in the heart of New Orleans' French Quarter, is a legendary destination for visitors and locals alike. Known for its revolving bar, elegant and lively atmosphere, it is a place where cocktails are served with a side of history, yet beneath its charm and sophistication lies a reputation that few tourists notice. The bar is said to be haunted, a crossroads where the echoes of the past mingle seamlessly with the present. Many visitors and staff have reported seeing apparitions seated at the carousel, even when it is empty. These figures often appear dressed in period attire, as if transported directly from the early 20th century. Patrons have described glimpses of men and women quietly chatting, sipping drinks, or turning on the carousel stools as though they were regular customers. When attention is focused fully on them, the figures vanish without a trace, leaving only the memory of their presence. Staff members often remark on these sightings, recounting how a once empty bar seemed suddenly occupied by unseen guests during quiet hours, only for it to return to normal when the living approach. Auditory experiences are a hallmark of the carousel bar's haunting. Guests have reported hearing ghostly laughter drifting over the circular counter, soft murmurs, and even snippets of conversations that vanish when one tries to follow them. During the late-night hours, when the hum of patrons has subsided, staff often hear faint clinking of glasses, footsteps circling the bar, or the subtle swish of clothing. Some describe these sounds as playful, like a spirit enjoying the bar's rotation as much as the living, while others experience them as slightly eerie reminders of the building's long and layered history. The bar's signature rotation seems to enhance the otherworldly experiences. Patrons have reported feeling a sudden chill as they approach the carousel, sometimes coinciding with the presence of apparitions. The gentle motion of the stools, turning in slow, effortless circles, adds an element of surrealism to the sightings. It is as though the spirits themselves continue to enjoy the novelty of the bar's design, participating in the rotation long after the living have left. Some guests even claim that the rotation seems to speed subtly when ghostly figures are present, creating a sensation that the carousel is guided by invisible hands as well as human ones. Mirrors along the walls and behind the bar often play a central role in the haunting. Patrons have glimpsed fleeting reflections of people who are not physically present, sometimes standing behind them or seated on stools that appear empty to the naked eye. Staff members have reported similar experiences, catching a glimpse of a figure in the corner of their eye, only to turn and find the space entirely vacant. These reflections contribute to the sense that the bar is not only a social hub, but also a portal, allowing the past and present to coexist in a continuous, shifting cycle. Cold spots and sudden changes in temperature are also frequently noted. Guests and staff alike have described feeling icy gusts around the carousel, particularly near certain stools or along the bar's perimeter. These chills often accompany other phenomena, such as a whisper, a glance at a mirror revealing an unexpected reflection, or the faint sound of footsteps circling the rotating bar. The cold seems to arrive without warning, a reminder that the spirits inhabiting the space are tangible enough to be felt, even if invisible to the eye. Many staff members report subtle physical sensations as well. Some describe the feeling of a hand lightly brushing their arm, the sense of a presence standing behind them, or the inexplicable tug of a coat sleeve. These touches are never aggressive or harmful. Instead, they feel deliberate and almost playful, as if the spirits are simply interacting with the living in a gentle, understated way. Patrons occasionally feel the same sensations, reporting a slight shiver or a fleeting awareness of being watched, which adds to the sense of connection between the living and the dead within the bar. Despite the spectral activity, the Carousel Bar and Lounge maintains its vibrant, welcoming atmosphere. The hauntings are not seen as dangerous, but as an added layer of the bar's historic character. Guests often enjoy speculating about the apparitions, whispering about sightings and sounds over cocktails and late-night conversations. Staff, too, have become accustomed to the subtle paranormal occurrences, seeing them as part of the bar's charm, a living testament to its past. The supernatural seems to coexist with the lively present, each rotation of the carousel blending the energy of history with that of the current patrons. The bar's storied history contributes to the sense of lingering spirits. Hotel Monteleone has hosted countless visitors over the decades, from celebrated authors to influential socialites, and the Carousel Bar itself has been a centerpiece of countless evenings filled with laughter, music, and conversation. The energy of these past patrons is said to remain embedded in the space, manifesting as ghostly figures, echoes of laughter, or the soft murmur of voices. Many who have experienced these phenomena describe a sensation of being gently observed, as if the spirits are ensuring that the bar continues to operate as it always has, a place of enjoyment, connection, and shared experience. Ultimately, the Carousel Bar and Lounge is a space where history and the supernatural intersect seamlessly. The apparitions, ghostly laughter, whispers, and subtle touches enrich the experience, giving patrons a rare opportunity to interact with the past while enjoying the present. Whether it is the fleeting glimpse of a figure on a stool, the sensation of being lightly brushed, or the echo of long-forgotten voices, these encounters offer a unique perspective on the layers of life and energy contained within the bar. Visiting the Carousel Bar and Lounge is more than a night out. It is a brush with the unseen, a glimpse into the lives of those who came before. The spirits, ever watchful and subtly interactive, continue their eternal rotation, sharing this space with the living and maintaining the bar's legacy. Each spin of the carousel carries a sense of history, a whisper of laughter, and the enduring presence of the patrons who never truly left, making the Carousel Bar and Lounge an unforgettable, hauntingly beautiful experience in the heart of New Orleans. May Bailey's Place, tucked within the historic Dauphine Orleans Hotel in New Orleans, is a bar steeped in history, intrigue, and a hint of the supernatural. Once a bustling bordello during the city's more notorious days, the building retains the echoes of its past, creating an atmosphere where the glamour and secrecy of bygone eras seem to linger in every corner. Today, guests come for drinks and conversation, yet many find themselves sharing the space with spirits who never quite left. One of the most frequently reported apparitions at May Bailey's Place is that of a woman in red. Patrons describe seeing her drifting gracefully along the bar or through the dimly lit hallways, her presence accompanied by the subtle scent of perfume that seems to linger long after she has vanished. She is often observed pausing near tables or in corners, her gaze directed toward patrons as though watching or perhaps silently judging, yet she does not approach or speak. Staff members have recounted times when a table left empty for hours suddenly seems to host an invisible guest, complete with glasses that shimmer as if someone unseen is holding them. These fleeting moments create an intimate connection between the living and the spectral, making each visit uniquely memorable. The auditory phenomena at May Bailey's Place are equally striking. Guests often hear faint laughter echoing through the rooms, the clinking of glasses, or whispers that seem to come from nowhere. Some describe conversations in the background, snippets of old-time talk, or playful murmurs that vanish when they attempt to listen more closely. Staff working late-night shifts have reported hearing these sounds during quiet hours, when the bar is nearly empty, and the disembodied laughter and whispers are said to be particularly noticeable near the corners of the bar and the former private rooms of the bordello. These auditory echoes, subtle yet persistent, reinforce the sense that the building itself remembers the lively, secretive energy of its past inhabitants. Many visitors have also reported seeing movement that cannot be explained. Shadows flicker across the walls or pass behind patrons when no one else is present, giving the impression that someone or something is moving through the bar unseen. Chairs may shift slightly, glasses tilt, and objects occasionally seem displaced without explanation. Staff members have witnessed the occasional glass move or a napkin flutter, as if nudged by an invisible hand. These minor disturbances are generally harmless, yet they contribute to an unmistakable feeling that the bar is alive with the presence of those who once walked its halls. Cold spots and sudden changes in temperature are another hallmark of the hauntings at May Bailey's Place. Patrons often describe walking into an area of the bar and feeling an abrupt chill, sometimes accompanied by the faint scent of the woman in red's perfume, or the sense of being observed. Staff members report similar experiences, especially near the old private rooms and corners where the apparition is most often seen. These temperature fluctuations are sometimes paired with the sounds of footsteps or whispers, creating a multi-sensory experience that can leave guests both thrilled and unsettled. The bar's architecture can amplify the haunted atmosphere. Dark wood, ornate mirrors, and a dim glow of antique lighting create an intimate space that encourages reflection and the occasional second glance over the shoulder. Mirrors play a particularly important role in sightings, as visitors sometimes catch fleeting images of figures behind them that disappear when fully observed. Reflections occasionally reveal the ghostly woman in red lingering near tables, further adding to the impression that the past and present are intertwined in this historic space. The history of May Bailey's Place adds weight to the haunting. As a former bordello, the establishment was a center of social intrigue, romance, and clandestine meetings. The energy of countless evenings, filled with laughter, conversation, and whispered secrets, is said to remain embedded within the walls, manifesting as residual energy or active spirits. Guests and staff alike often sense that the apparitions are not malicious, but rather vestiges of lives once lived fully, their presence a reminder of the building's rich, layered history. Despite the ghostly encounters, May Bailey's Place continues to be a welcoming and lively destination. The subtle touches, sounds, and glimpses of spirits are considered part of the charm, drawing visitors not only for the drinks and ambiance, but also for the chance to experience a location where history is palpable and the supernatural is ever present. Staff members, while sometimes startled, have grown accustomed to the gentle interactions of the spirits, viewing them as part of the bar's unique character rather than a cause for concern. Visitors frequently describe a sense of intimacy and immediacy when encountering the ghostly woman in red, whether she is glimpsed in a mirror, sensed nearby, or accompanied by the faint clink of an invisible glass. Her presence evokes curiosity and fascination. Many leave the bar with the memory of having shared a moment with a being from another era. A fleeting connection that bridges centuries. The combination of visual sightings, auditory echoes, subtle movements, and temperature shifts creates a haunting yet elegant environment that keeps the legend of May Bailey's Place alive. Ultimately, May Bailey's Place is more than a bar. It is a living testament to the history of New Orleans' French Quarter, a space where past and present intermingle. The woman in red, the whispers, the laughter, and the clinking glasses serve as reminders of the vibrant lives that once animated the space. Patrons leave not only with memories of cocktails and conversation, but with a sense of having experienced something extraordinary. A glimpse into the lingering spirit of a bygone era. The hauntings at May Bailey's Place enrich its legacy, offering a unique blend of history, mystery, and the supernatural that continues to enchant all who step through its doors. Tujeg's Restaurant, located in the heart of New Orleans' French Quarter, is celebrated as the city's second oldest restaurant, a historic institution that has witnessed centuries of diners, celebrations, and quiet moments of reflection. While its walls are steeped in culinary history and Southern charm, there exists another, more enigmatic layer to the establishment. Its bar is widely regarded as a hotspot for paranormal activity. Over the years, patrons and staff alike have reported ghostly sightings, fleeting shadows, and inexplicable movements that suggest the spirits of former guests still linger, quietly observing the comings and goings of the living. Visitors often speak of seeing apparitions along the bar and in the dining rooms. Their presence is subtle but unmistakable. Some report glimpsing figures in period attire, men in suits and women in long dresses, walking slowly across the floor or seated near tables as if they had never left. These spirits are usually seen at the edge of vision, vanishing the moment someone tries to approach or focus on them fully. Staff members have recounted similar experiences, noting how a once empty dining room may suddenly feel occupied, or how shadows flit across hallways where no one else is present. These encounters, while often brief, leave a lasting impression, a quiet reminder that the past is still very much alive within Tujeg's walls. The bar's ghosts are not malicious. Rather, they appear to be residual echoes of the restaurant's long history. Patrons have reported seeing figures through the windows, silently observing the street or glancing toward the bar. Some diners have noticed empty chairs appearing slightly moved from their original position, or the faint impression that someone has brushed past them while no one else is nearby. These subtle signs of presence enhance the restaurant's atmosphere, creating a sense of continuity between the establishment's storied past and its vibrant present. Auditory phenomena are another hallmark of the hauntings at Two Jigs. Guests and staff frequently describe hearing faint conversations, laughter, and the soft clink of glasses, even when the bar is nearly empty. These sounds often occur near the corners of the dining room or along the bar itself, where the energy of former patrons seems strongest. Some have even reported hearing footsteps echoing across the floorboards when no one is walking, or the soft creak of chairs as if someone has just sat down. The sounds are often fleeting, vanishing when attention is fully directed toward them, which only adds to the mystery and charm of the experiences. Visual anomalies are common, especially around reflective surfaces such as mirrors, polished tables, and window panes. Patrons have reported seeing figures in the reflection that are not physically present in the room, sometimes moving across the bar or seated at tables that appear empty when they turn to look directly. Mirrors seem to act as portals, capturing glimpses of the spirits who once frequented Two Jigs, giving visitors fleeting yet vivid windows into the restaurant's past. These visual experiences are often accompanied by the gentle, almost imperceptible movement of objects, such as glasses tilting slightly or silverware shifting, creating the impression that unseen hands are still interacting with the environment. Temperature fluctuations and cold spots have also been noted by both staff and patrons. Certain areas of the bar or dining room may feel suddenly chilled, often coinciding with the presence of apparitions or the appearance of shadows. These cold spots are typically brief but intense, creating a physical awareness of the spirit's presence that complements the visual and auditory phenomena. Guests describe these chills as sudden and sometimes disorienting, heightening the sense that the building holds lingering energy from those who have long since passed. The history of Two Jigs Restaurant contributes heavily to its supernatural reputation. Established in the 19th century, the bar has hosted countless patrons, from local residents to travelers and celebrities. Each visitor leaves behind a trace of energy, and it seems that some of these echoes have persisted over time. The combination of historical significance, long-standing tradition, and centuries of human activity makes the space particularly conducive to paranormal experiences. Many visitors describe the atmosphere as both elegant and otherworldly, a place where history and the supernatural coexist seamlessly. Staff members have grown accustomed to the subtle hauntings, viewing them as part of the restaurant's unique character rather than a source of fear. They report occasional fleeting sightings of figures walking through the dining room or shadows moving along the walls, and many have heard the soft clink of glasses or whispered murmurs late at night. These experiences are generally welcomed as reminders of Two Jigs' rich past, creating a sense of continuity and connection between the restaurant's present patrons and those who dined centuries ago. Visitors often leave Two Jigs not only with memories of excellent food and cocktails, but with the sense that they have shared the space with something extraordinary. The spirits of former patrons, appearing in windows, walking through the dining room, or quietly observing from the bar, lend a hauntingly elegant dimension to the experience. Many guests find themselves reflecting on the layers of history embedded in the walls and floors, the lingering presence of those who loved the space as much as they do. Ultimately, Two Jigs Restaurant Bar is more than a historic eatery. It is a living connection to the past. The ghostly figures, whispers, moving objects, and fleeting shadows all serve as reminders that the stories of those who once walked these floors have not entirely faded. Patrons step into a space where the line between past and present is blurred, sharing the room with spirits who continue to observe, interact, and coexist peacefully with the living. Each visit is an encounter with history, memory, and the supernatural, making Tujagues a uniquely haunted and unforgettable landmark in the heart of New Orleans. Spirits on Bourbon, a well-known hotspot on the bustling Bourbon Street in New Orleans, is famous not only for its potent cocktails and lively atmosphere, but also for its reputation as a haunted location. Beneath the neon lights and energetic music lies a history that reaches far back, one that imbues the bar with an eerie undercurrent. Long before it became a destination for tourists seeking drinks and entertainment, the building reportedly served as a mortuary, a place where the living and the dead intersected in ways that some say left a lingering imprint on the property. Today, both patrons and staff have reported encounters with the supernatural, suggesting that the spirits of the deceased continue to haunt the bar in subtle yet unmistakable ways. Many visitors to Spirits on Bourbon recount hearing cries, whispers, and moans that seem to emanate from empty corners or rooms that no longer serve any apparent purpose. These sounds are often described as coming from within the walls themselves, or drifting across the bar in moments when the crowd quiets down. Some patrons report experiencing a sudden chill or the sensation of being watched, as if unseen eyes are tracking their every movement. Staff members who have worked late-night shifts describe similar experiences, including hearing footsteps echoing in hallways, doors creaking open on their own, and faint whispers near the old storage areas or restrooms that were once part of the building's mortuary operations. Paranormal investigators have long been drawn to Spirits on Bourbon, intrigued by the combination of its history and ongoing reports of ghostly activity. Several investigations have captured strange EVP, electronic voice phenomenon recordings, where faint voices, sometimes calling names or issuing warnings, can be heard over the background noise of the bar. Investigators also report sudden spikes in electromagnetic fields, unexplained cold spots, and shadowy figures caught on camera. These findings have bolstered the bar's reputation as a haunted site and have made it a destination for those interested in both history and the paranormal. Visual sightings are among the most unsettling aspects of the haunting. Patrons have reported glimpsing figures in the corners of the bar, fleeting shadows darting behind columns, and silhouettes that appear to linger near tables before vanishing entirely. Some have claimed to see ghostly apparitions dressed in period clothing, suggesting that these spirits may be remnants of individuals connected to the building's past as a mortuary. One recurring story involves the sighting of a tall, indistinct figure standing near the bar during the quiet hours of the night, which disappears when anyone approaches, leaving only the sensation of presence behind. Glassware and other objects are also said to move inexplicably. Drinks have been reported tilting slightly on the counter, napkins fluttering as if caught by an invisible breeze, and chairs shifting on their own. While these disturbances are usually subtle, they add to the sense that the bar is alive with unseen energy. Patrons often describe feeling a faint touch on their shoulders or the brush of a passing hand, fleeting sensations that heighten awareness of the spirits sharing the space with them. Cold spots and sudden changes in temperature are a hallmark of the hauntings at Spirits on Bourbon. Guests frequently report walking into an area of the bar and feeling a sharp chill, sometimes accompanied by the faint sound of whispering or a fleeting shadow in their peripheral vision. Staff members have noted that these cold spots tend to occur in areas linked to the building's original mortuary functions or near corners and hallways where apparitions are most commonly reported. These sudden drops in temperature create a tangible reminder that the spirits are not only present but capable of affecting the physical environment. The bar's lively atmosphere does not seem to deter the supernatural. In fact, the hauntings often occur during moments when the energy is low, such as late at night or during quieter periods. Patrons and staff alike have come to accept these experiences as part of the bar's unique character, rather than instilling fear. The subtle paranormal activity is often described as fascinating and oddly comforting, a link to the building's layered past and the lives that once moved through its walls. Mirrors and reflective surfaces in Spirits on Bourbon play a significant role in ghostly sightings. Guests have occasionally reported seeing figures behind them in mirrors, only to turn and find no one there. These reflections sometimes show shadows standing near tables, figures gliding across the floor, or apparitions that seem to observe the living quietly before fading into the surroundings. The mirrors, combined with the bar's dim lighting, amplify the sense that the past and present coexist in a single, fluid space, allowing visitors to catch fleeting glimpses of spirits going about their eternal routines. Despite its haunted reputation, Spirits on Bourbon remains a popular destination for both locals and tourists. Patrons often remark that the supernatural elements add to the bar's allure, creating an experience that is as thrilling as it is entertaining. Bartenders and staff have embraced the stories, recounting their own encounters while serving drinks, and many guests find themselves intrigued by the possibility of witnessing the paranormal firsthand. The combination of history, spectral activity, and vibrant New Orleans culture makes the bar a compelling place where the living and the dead share the same space. Ultimately, Spirits on Bourbon is more than a bar. It is a living testament to the city's past, a space where history and the supernatural converge. The cries, whispers, fleeting shadows, and cold spots serve as constant reminders that the spirits of the building's former occupants continue to linger, interacting in subtle ways with those who enter. Guests leave not only with memories of cocktails and conversation, but with the knowledge that they have shared the space with something beyond the ordinary, a brush with the unknown that makes Spirits on Bourbon a hauntingly unforgettable landmark in the heart of New Orleans. The Chart Room, a dimly lit dive bar tucked away in the heart of New Orleans, has long been a favorite among locals seeking strong drinks and a no-frills atmosphere. Its low ceilings, aged wooden panels, and weathered bar counter give it the feel of a place frozen in time. Yet, for all its charm as a casual watering hole, the Chart Room carries a reputation that goes beyond its beverages. Paranormal activity has become a hallmark of the bar, drawing curious visitors hoping to catch a glimpse of the unexplained. Over the years, both staff and patrons have reported strange occurrences, most notably the sightings of a ghostly figure that seems to linger at the bar, and cold spots that drift unpredictably through the room. The most commonly reported apparition is a solitary figure seated at the bar late at night, often described as an indistinct silhouette that seems to hold an invisible drink. Patrons who have seen it recount the unsettling sensation of someone occupying a space that should be empty. The figure is rarely fully visible, appearing more like a shadow than a solid form, yet it exudes a presence that is palpable. Those sitting nearby often feel a chill in the air, a sudden drop in temperature that seems to coincide with the spirit's location. Some have even mentioned that their skin prickles or their hair stands on end when the figure is near. A physical reminder that the supernatural can sometimes be felt as keenly as it is seen. Cold spots are a consistent feature of the hauntings at the Chart Room. Unlike the steady coolness of air conditioning or a draft from a cracked window, these cold pockets appear and vanish unpredictably, moving through the room as if carried by an unseen hand. Patrons frequently report feeling a sudden chill that brushes past them or washes over a specific area of the bar. Bartenders have noticed these drops in temperature near the back corners, around the stools closest to the walls, and sometimes directly behind the bar itself. The cold is often accompanied by the faint sensation of being watched, a quiet pressure that seems to settle in the room when the bar is least crowded. Auditory phenomena add another layer to the spectral reputation of the Chart Room. Guests have reported hearing the soft clink of an invisible glass, the faint murmur of a voice, or the low hum of conversation coming from no discernible source. Staff working late nights have described the subtle sound of footsteps moving across the wooden floor. Yet when they investigate, no one is there. Occasionally, chairs scrape the floor as if someone has just stood up, and items on the bar, like napkins or coasters, seem to shift slightly without explanation. These minor disturbances create an atmosphere of uncertainty, keeping patrons aware that the bar is inhabited by more than just the living. Visual sightings extend beyond the shadowy figure at the bar. Some visitors have glimpsed fleeting images in the mirrors behind the counter or reflected in the darkened windows, forms that vanish when looked at directly. Others report seeing movement in the corner of their eye only for the space to appear empty moments later. Mirrors, polished surfaces, and the dim lighting all contribute to the sense that the chart room is a place where reality and the supernatural blur, allowing spirits to manifest briefly before retreating back into the shadows. The history of the chart room likely plays a role in its paranormal activity. Though its origins are murky, the building has been a neighborhood fixture for decades, a place where countless stories, friendships, and moments of solitude have taken place. Long-term patrons suggest that the ghostly figure may be a former regular, a spirit that continues to occupy the space where they once spent their evenings. The apparitions, whispers, and cold spots are believed to be echoes of past life, lingering energy that the building has absorbed over the years, giving the bar a unique character that cannot be replicated elsewhere. Many staff members have grown accustomed to the paranormal presence, treating it as part of the bar's personality rather than a source of fear. Bartenders often recount the ghostly figure quietly, with a mix of bemusement and respect. Regular patrons sometimes leave the bar with stories of having shared a space with an unseen companion, noting the faint cold, the subtle sounds, and the fleeting glimpses as part of their experience. For many, these encounters enhance the mystique of the chart room, providing a story to tell alongside the memories of drinks and conversation. The interactions with the ghostly figure are generally subtle, never overtly threatening. Patrons have described the sensation of the presence leaning slightly closer during quiet moments, as if engaging in a silent toast, or watching over the room with an air of quiet approval. The spirit does not interfere with the living, but maintains an almost protective watch over the bar, continuing its nightly routine long after life has passed. These gentle interactions contribute to the allure of the chart room as a place where the past is never entirely gone. In addition to the figure and the cold spots, the bar is said to exude a general atmosphere of lingering energy. Patrons and staff often remark that certain nights feel different, heavier, quieter, or more charged with unseen activity. These subtle changes in ambience reinforce the sense that the chart room is a living connection to its own history, a space where the lines between the present and the past, the living and the dead, are blurred. Visitors leave not only with memories of drinks and camaraderie, but also with the knowledge that they have shared the room with something extraordinary, a presence that watches, lingers, and quietly participates in the ongoing life of the bar. Ultimately, the chart room is more than a dive bar, is a portal to the past, a place where history, memory, and the supernatural intersect. The ghostly figure, the drifting cold spots, the faint sounds, and the subtle movements all serve as reminders that the spirits of former patrons continue to linger, maintaining their quiet vigil. Each visit offers the chance to experience a place where the living and the spectral coexist, leaving guests with stories to tell, chills to remember, and the unmistakable feeling that the chart room is a space where the past never truly fades. Erin Rose, a cozy and inviting bar nestled in the heart of New Orleans' French Quarter, is well loved for its charming ambience, lively music, and expertly poured drinks. With its warm wooden interiors, soft lighting, and bustling crowds, it seems like the perfect place to enjoy a casual evening. Yet beneath its welcoming atmosphere lies a subtle, more mysterious presence. Patrons and staff alike have reported eerie occurrences that suggest Erin Rose may not be entirely inhabited by the living. Shadows flicker across walls with no obvious source. Sudden chills wash over the room, and guests sometimes feel as if an unseen presence is moving just out of sight. These phenomena have earned Erin Rose a reputation as a bar with a ghostly side, one where the ordinary and the supernatural intertwine in subtle, unnerving ways. Many visitors recount seeing shadows shift along the walls or across the floor, often out of the corner of their eye. These flickering figures are fleeting, vanishing whenever anyone turns to look directly. Patrons have described the feeling that someone or something is gliding quietly through the space, moving just beyond perception, leaving only the sensation of presence behind. The shadows seem to be drawn to certain areas of the bar, the corners near the booths, the spaces between tables, and occasionally around the bar itself, where they hover for a few moments before disappearing. The fleeting nature of these movements gives the impression that the spirits are watching, quietly observing the patrons as they go about their evenings. Cold spots are another commonly reported phenomenon at Erin Rose. Guests frequently feel sudden drops in temperature, often accompanied by a lingering chill that seems to trace the path of an invisible figure through the room. These cold spots appear and vanish without explanation, sometimes brushing past individual patrons or sweeping across the bar, leaving them shivering despite the warmth of the surrounding environment. Staff have noted that these chills are more pronounced during quieter hours, late at night when the bar is less crowded, creating an almost otherworldly atmosphere that contrasts sharply with the usual bustle. Some patrons even report the sensation of someone brushing past them, a touch felt but unseen, leaving an uneasy awareness of an invisible presence in the space. Auditory experiences further enhance Erin Rose's haunted reputation. Visitors often describe hearing subtle sounds that cannot be traced to a physical source. The faint murmur of a conversation, a soft laugh, or even the clink of glasses, as if a phantom patron were raising a toast. Staff working late-night shifts have recounted the faint echo of footsteps moving across the floor, or the rustle of chairs being shifted when no one is present. These sounds, while often subtle, create a sense that the bar is alive in more ways than one, with echoes of the past lingering among the present patrons. Mirrors and reflective surfaces within Erin Rose contribute to the sense of mystery. Patrons have occasionally caught glimpses of figures in windows or mirrors, shadowy shapes that vanish when looked at directly. Sometimes, reflections appear to show someone seated at a booth or standing near the bar, even when the area is empty. These visual anomalies add to the bar's eerie charm, suggesting that the space itself acts as a conduit for lingering energy, allowing past occupants or spirits to manifest in fleeting, almost imperceptible ways. Despite these supernatural experiences, Erin Rose remains a beloved and well-frequented establishment. Many visitors find the ghostly encounters intriguing rather than frightening, enhancing the atmosphere with a sense of history and mystery. Patrons often leave with stories of shadows flickering, sudden chills, or fleeting glimpses of a presence that seems to coexist with the living. The staff, familiar with the occurrences, treat them as part of the bar's character, often sharing anecdotes with curious customers or silently acknowledging the subtle disturbances that punctuate their shifts. The origins of Erin Rose's hauntings are unclear, but some speculate that the spirits may be tied to the building's long history and its many past occupants. The energy of previous generations, whether former bar staff, patrons, or individuals associated with the space, may linger, subtly influencing the environment and interacting with the living in quiet, almost imperceptible ways. These lingering presences seem to prefer subtlety, manifesting through cold spots, shadows, and fleeting sensations rather than overtly appearing, creating a haunting that is intimate, personal, and quietly unnerving. The experiences at Erin Rose are typically gentle rather than threatening. Patrons often describe a feeling of being observed or accompanied, as though the spirits are participating silently in the life of the bar. Some have reported the sensation of someone standing behind them for a moment before vanishing, or feeling a sudden, unexplained breeze along their shoulders. These interactions, while unsettling, rarely cause fear, instead creating an impression of connection with a past that is present yet removed, a history that quietly persists in the bar's walls. Ultimately, Erin Rose is more than a bar. It is a space where the ordinary and the supernatural coexist. Shadows that flicker along the walls, cold spots that sweep through the room, and the subtle feeling of unseen company all contribute to a unique atmosphere that blends conviviality with the ethereal. Guests leave not only with memories of drinks and conversation, but with the lingering sense that the bar is shared with spirits who continue to walk its halls, observing, moving, and quietly interacting with the living. Erin Rose stands as a testament to the layered history of New Orleans, a place where the energy of the past is never entirely gone, and the supernatural quietly thrives alongside the living. The Bombay Club, an iconic establishment in New Orleans, is renowned for its sophisticated ambience, expertly crafted martinis, and nightly jazz performances. With its dim lighting, polished woodwork, and classic, it evokes the elegance of a bygone era, drawing locals and visitors alike to enjoy both music and conversation. Yet beneath the refined atmosphere lies a history that is whispered about in hushed tones among staff and regular patrons. History that suggests the club may not be inhabited solely by the living. Many have reported experiences that hint at ghostly presences, most notably a spectral figure who appears near the bar, lingering like a patron from a long past time, participating silently in the ongoing life of the club. The most frequently described apparition is that of a man dressed in early 20th century attire, often observed standing near the bar, his posture poised and elegant. Patrons report seeing him raise a glass in a quiet, almost ceremonial toast before vanishing into thin air. This mysterious figure is described as sharply dressed, with a tailored suit and a demeanor that speaks of a gentleman accustomed to refined. Witnesses emphasize that he does not interfere with the living. Instead, he seems to inhabit the space in a quiet, dignified manner, observing the activity around him and occasionally acknowledging the presence of those nearby with a slow, deliberate gesture. Staff members have grown accustomed to the ghostly presence, recounting subtle but undeniable experiences over the years. During late-night hours, bartenders have reported glasses tipping slightly as if nudged by an unseen hand, coasters moving across the polished bar top, and faint footsteps echoing across the floor when no one is present. The man in old-fashioned attire is often associated with these phenomena, though he remains an enigma, never fully materializing or interacting in any overtly disruptive way. Patrons who catch a glimpse of him often experience a sudden chill or a feeling of being watched, as if the presence has momentarily crossed the boundary between the spiritual and the physical. Auditory experiences at the Bombay Club also contribute to its haunted reputation. Guests and staff alike describe hearing faint sounds of music or conversation that seem out of place, particularly when the live jazz has ended for the evening. Some claim to hear the gentle clink of a glass being raised, the rustle of clothing as a figure moves past, or the faint echo of laughter that cannot be traced to anyone in the room. These subtle noises often occur near the bar area, adding a layer of mystery and heightening the sense that the club is shared with unseen patrons who maintain a presence long after the music has faded. The spectral figure is most often observed during quieter hours, particularly after the club has emptied of its daytime or evening crowd. Patrons who linger late report catching glimpses of him out of the corner of their eye, standing perfectly still or walking slowly along the bar before disappearing when directly observed. Mirrors and reflective surfaces sometimes reveal his form for a fleeting moment, though when turned to directly confront the apparition, he is gone. These ephemeral sightings suggest that the ghost is a part of the space itself, moving fluidly through the environment while remaining just beyond full perception. Cold spots are another hallmark of the hauntings at the Bombay Club. Guests and staff have described sudden drops in temperature near the bar or in corners where the apparition is often seen. These chills are brief but intense, leaving patrons shivering despite the otherwise comfortable climate of the establishment. Some have interpreted these cold spots as a physical manifestation of the spectral presence, a tangible reminder that the man in old-fashioned attire is more than a figment of imagination. The history of the Bombay Club may shed light on its paranormal activity. The building and its surrounding areas have been steeped in New Orleans history for over a century, and the elegance of the club suggests a connection to a time when jazz cocktails and refined social gatherings were central to the city's nightlife. Some speculate that the man in old-fashioned attire was a regular patron or a figure associated with the club during its early years, someone whose presence became so intertwined with the space that it lingers even in death. His ghostly behavior, raising a glass, moving quietly along the bar seems to echo the rituals and habits of lifelong past, preserving a sense of continuity that bridges generations. For many visitors, the spectral presence adds to the allure of the Bombay Club rather than inspiring fear. Witnessing the apparition Experiencing the chill or hearing unexplained sounds becomes part of the experience, a way to connect with the rich tapestry of the club's history. Staff members often recount stories of the man in old-fashioned attire with a mixture of respect and fascination, sharing anecdotes with curious patrons who linger after the evening music has ended. These interactions, while subtle, create a narrative that intertwines the living and the dead, making each visit to the Bombay Club unique and memorable. The ghostly figure at the Bombay Club is notable for its restraint. Unlike many reported hauntings, this spirit does not seek to frighten. Instead, it quietly inhabits the bar, maintaining its presence in a dignified, almost protective manner. Patrons often describe a feeling of gentle observation, as if the apparition ensures that the club continues to thrive while silently participating in its ongoing story. The phenomenon is both haunting and oddly comforting, suggesting that the past remains alive in subtle, unseen ways. Ultimately, the Bombay Club is more than a place for drinks and music. It is a space where history and the supernatural coexist. The man in old-fashioned attire, the drifting cold spots, and the faint sounds of glasses and footsteps all serve as reminders that the spirits of the past linger quietly, observing, participating, and connecting with the living. Guests leave not only with memories of cocktails and jazz, but also with the knowledge that they have shared the space with a presence that continues to toast silently from beyond, a reminder of the timeless elegance and enduring mystery of the Bombay Club. Molly's at the Market, a popular and vibrant spot in New Orleans, is known for its friendly atmosphere, flavorful drinks, and the constant hum of conversation from locals and tourists alike. The bar's cozy interior, with its polished wooden counters, exposed brick walls, and soft ambient lighting, makes it a welcoming destination at any hour. However, beneath the warmth and charm of Molly's lies a mysterious presence that has been reported by staff and patrons alike, adding an unexpected layer of intrigue to the establishment. While the bar thrives during the day and evening hours, late-night visitors and closing staff have experienced phenomena that suggest Molly's is not just a place for lively gatherings, but also a space where spirits linger quietly, participating in the nightly rituals of the living. The most commonly reported phenomena involve unexplained movement and sounds. Bartenders have recounted instances where glasses, bottles, or coasters slide across the bar on their own, seemingly propelled by an invisible hand. These occurrences are often subtle at first, a gentle nudge or a soft clatter, but they can escalate into more noticeable events when the bar empties. Patrons occasionally witness a glass moving slightly without anyone nearby, prompting startled glances and uneasy laughter, only to see the object come to rest as if nothing had occurred. Over time, these small, inexplicable movements have become part of Molly's lore, creating an aura of mystery that adds to the bar's charm for those intrigued by the supernatural. Footsteps are another recurring element of the hauntings at Molly's. Staff members who remain after closing often hear the soft shuffle of shoes or the deliberate pace of someone walking across the floor, even when the establishment is empty. These sounds can come from the main bar area, the corners near the back rooms, or the stairways leading to storage and office spaces. At times, the footsteps are accompanied by the faint creak of a chair or the subtle shifting of a stool, reinforcing the feeling that someone or something is moving through the bar unseen. The footsteps are described as deliberate, almost routine, suggesting a presence that is following a familiar path, as though carrying out nightly duties long after life has passed. Cold spots are also a consistent part of Molly's haunted reputation. Patrons and staff alike describe sudden drops in temperature that seem to follow an unseen entity. A chill might wash over a particular area of the bar, brushing past someone seated at a table or hovering near the counter, only to dissipate moments later. Unlike a draft from an open window or the effect of air conditioning, these cold spots are localized and fleeting, creating a sensation of someone or something standing near or moving past. The chill is often accompanied by the subtle feeling of being observed, a pressure on the senses that signals a presence that is tangible but unseen. Visual anomalies, though rarer, have been reported as well. On quiet nights, a shadowy figure is sometimes glimpsed in the corner of the room or near the bar, disappearing when looked at directly. Staff describe fleeting reflections in the polished wooden surfaces or windows. Shapes that seem human but lack substance, vanishing the instant they are acknowledged. Some patrons have reported seeing the faint outline of a person pacing behind the bar, only for the area to be completely empty moments later. These fleeting glimpses contribute to the sense that Mardi Gras is a space where the past and present coexist, a place where spirits continue to occupy familiar spots even after life has ended. The bar's history and long-standing presence in the community may explain some of the supernatural activity. Mardi's has been a part of New Orleans' vibrant social fabric for decades, a space where countless stories, relationships, and memories have accumulated over time. Some speculate that the lingering energy of former staff members, patrons, or residents has imprinted itself on the space, manifesting as movement, temperature shifts, and ethereal sounds. These presences appear to be gentle rather than hostile, engaging subtly with the living in ways that are both intriguing and occasionally unnerving. Despite the eerie occurrences, Mardi's remains a lively and beloved establishment. Many regulars embrace the spectral activity as part of the bar's character, sharing stories of sliding glasses, drifting footsteps, and cold spots with friends or new visitors. Staff members often recount their experiences with a mixture of bemusement and respect, acknowledging the presence without fear. The ghostly interactions are subtle, rarely disruptive, and sometimes almost comforting, a reminder that the bar is part of a continuum of human experience, where the past quietly coexists with the present. The interaction with the unseen at Mardi's tends to be intimate and restrained. Patrons sometimes feel the sensation of a presence nearby, a gentle brush of air, or the faint sound of movement behind them, suggesting that the spirits are participating silently in the nightly rhythm of the bar. There are no aggressive manifestations. Rather, the presences seem content to linger in the background, their presence acknowledged by the soft noises and movements that punctuate the stillness after closing. These subtle interactions create an atmosphere that is both eerie and inviting, a delicate balance between the tangible and the spectral. Ultimately, Mardi's at the Market is more than a bar. It is a space where history, memory, and the supernatural intersect. The sliding glasses, pacing footsteps, sudden chills, and fleeting glimpses all contribute to an environment where the living and the unseen coexist. Guests leave not only with memories of drinks and camaraderie, but also with the awareness that Mardi Gras holds echoes of the past, silent witnesses to the countless nights of laughter, conversation, and life that have unfolded within its walls. The Avenue Pub, nestled in the heart of New Orleans, is a favorite destination for craft beer enthusiasts and those seeking a lively yet intimate atmosphere. With its exposed brick walls, dark wooden beams, and an array of taps lining the bar, the pub exudes warmth and charm during the bustling hours of the evening. Patrons come for the extensive selection of beers, the carefully curated menu, and the friendly chatter that fills the space. Yet behind this inviting exterior lies a more mysterious presence, a lingering echo of the past that has earned the Avenue Pub a reputation among locals and visitors as a place where the supernatural quietly intersects with the ordinary. One of the most commonly reported phenomena at the Avenue Pub involves cold drafts that seem to appear without cause. Guests often describe sudden, localized chills that sweep through the bar, brushing past them even when the doors are closed and the air conditioning is off. These cold spots are unpredictable, sometimes lingering near the seating areas, other times drifting through the main bar. Staff members have learned to recognize these moments, often describing the sensation as if an unseen figure has just passed by. The chills are subtle yet unmistakable, leaving patrons with a lingering sense of presence, a feeling that someone or something is nearby but unseen. In addition to the cold drafts, lights in the pub occasionally flicker in ways that cannot be explained by faulty wiring or electrical issues. Bulbs dim and brighten on their own, casting shadows that dance across the walls and ceilings. These flickers are often brief but noticeable, and they frequently coincide with the more active paranormal experiences reported by staff and guests. Patrons have recounted seeing lights, pulse, or glow in empty corners, creating eerie visual effects that add to the sense of a presence inhabiting the space. Many believe that the flickering lights serve as a form of communication, subtle signs that the spirits in the pub are aware of those around them, observing without interference. The most striking and often cited apparition at the Avenue pub is that of a woman in Victorian dress. Witnesses report seeing her standing near the back bar, her posture upright, her gaze fixed somewhere beyond the physical walls of the pub. She is often described as wearing a dark, flowing gown, typical of the late 19th century, complete with high collar and lace detailing. Patrons have noted that she does not speak or move aggressively. Instead, she seems to exist as an observer, a presence quietly woven into the fabric of the bar. When approached directly, the apparition disappears, leaving behind only the residual chill and an almost tangible sense of being watched. Staff members working late shifts often recount experiences of objects moving inexplicably. Glasses may shift slightly along the counter, coasters slide across tabletops, and occasionally chairs are found slightly out of place after closing. These incidents, while never violent or destructive, reinforce the impression that the spirits of the past linger in the space, quietly participating in the pub's nightly rhythm. Guests have occasionally felt a brush of air along their shoulders or sensed someone standing behind them when no one is present, adding to the intimate, sometimes unnerving connection between the living and the unseen. Auditory phenomena further contribute to the pub's haunted reputation. Patrons and staff have reported faint whispers, soft footsteps, and the creak of chairs or floorboards when the bar is empty. These sounds are subtle, often mistaken for natural noises of an old building, but repeat occurrences suggest a deliberate presence. The whispers are never intelligible, but carry the cadence of human speech, leaving listeners with the impression of a conversation taking place just beyond their reach. Footsteps sometimes echo across the polished wood floors, following the rhythm of someone moving deliberately from the back bar toward the main area, only to vanish when investigated. Mirrors and reflective surfaces within the Avenue pub occasionally reveal fleeting images of figures that vanish when directly observed. Patrons have reported catching glimpses of the woman in Victorian dress reflected in a polished wood panel or the glass of a nearby display, only for the reflection to disappear when they turn to face it. These visual anomalies contribute to the pub's eerie charm, creating an environment where the boundaries between the living and the spectral are fluid, and past occupants appear to linger alongside present-day patrons. The origins of the Avenue pub's hauntings are uncertain, though some speculate that the Victorian-era woman may be connected to a previous occupant or a historic figure associated with the building. The pub itself sits in a neighborhood rich with history, and the lingering energies of past lives may have imprinted themselves on the space, manifesting in subtle, persistent ways. The spirits appear to prefer quiet observation rather than interaction, existing alongside the living without causing harm. Yet their presence is undeniable to those attuned to the bar's unique atmosphere. For many visitors, these supernatural experiences enhance the allure of the Avenue pub rather than detract from it. Patrons often share stories of flickering lights, sudden chills, and glimpses of the Victorian apparition with friends, adding an extra layer of intrigue to an evening out. Staff members treat these occurrences with a mixture of curiosity and respect, often using them to engage guests who are fascinated by the bar's haunted reputation. The subtlety of the hauntings allows them to coexist with the pub's lively, modern-day character, enriching the environment without overwhelming it. Ultimately, the Avenue pub is more than just a venue for craft beer and jazz. It is a place where history, mystery, and the supernatural converge. Cold drafts, flickering lights, subtle movements, and the enigmatic figure of the Victorian woman all combine to create a space where patrons feel a connection to something beyond the ordinary. Guests leave with not only memories of drinks, conversation, and laughter, but also a lingering sense that they have shared the room with a presence from the past, silently observing and maintaining its watch over the pub. In this way, the Avenue Pub stands as a testament to New Orleans' layered history, where the energy of the past continues to coexist with the life and vibrancy of the present. Fahey's Irish Pub, a staple of New Orleans' vibrant bar scene, has long been celebrated for its warm atmosphere, hearty fare, and an impressive selection of beers and whiskeys. By day and early evening, it hums with laughter, clinking glasses, and the chatter of patrons enjoying a familiar gathering spot. The pub's wooden beams, cozy corners, and rich give it the charm of a traditional Irish tavern transplanted into the heart of the city. Yet beneath the jovial surface, Fahey's carries an undercurrent of mystery that has intrigued locals and visitors alike, giving the bar a haunted reputation that adds a compelling edge to its lively spirit. One of the most frequently reported phenomena at Fahey's is phantom laughter. Staff members closing up for the night have recounted instances of hearing faint, mirthful chuckles echoing through the empty bar. The laughter is described as clear and unmistakably human, yet when employees investigate, no one is there. Sometimes it seems to come from the corners of the room, near the tables and booths where patrons had once gathered. Other times, from the bar itself, as though an unseen presence is lingering over the bottles and taps. The laughter is not menacing. Instead, it carries a playful, almost mischievous quality, giving the impression of spirits reliving moments of enjoyment and camaraderie from their past. Shadowy figures are another frequent occurrence at Fahey's. Patrons and staff alike have reported catching glimpses of movement in their peripheral vision, a fleeting shape near the bar, a shadow slipping past a doorway, or a figure standing silently in the corner of a room. When looked at directly, the figures vanish, leaving only the memory of their presence and the lingering chill of their proximity. These apparitions are rarely aggressive. Instead, they seem to inhabit the edges of awareness, giving those who notice them the sense of being observed without confrontation. The shadows often coincide with the bar's quieter hours, suggesting a connection to the energy and activity of the space. When it was filled with patrons long ago, cold spots add another layer of the supernatural to Fahey. Staff and visitors have reported sudden drops in temperature in certain areas of the bar, especially near older sections of the building. These cold drafts can move unpredictably, brushing past someone seated at a table or hovering near the bar counter. Unlike air conditioning or natural ventilation, these chills are localized, often felt only by one person at a time, and they vanish just as suddenly as they arrive. Many describe the sensation as similar to a gentle touch or the passing of someone close by, a physical reminder that the space is shared with unseen entities. The bar also exhibits subtle, unexplained movements. Glasses, coasters, and occasionally small objects on tables and shelves have been observed shifting or tilting without cause. Staff have noted that these incidents often happen late at night, after patrons have gone home, and sometimes coincide with the sounds of footsteps or laughter. While never destructive, these movements are enough to catch the attention of anyone closing up or lingering in the bar's quieter corners, reinforcing the notion that Fahey's is a space where the past continues to mingle with the present. Auditory anomalies extend beyond laughter. Some staff members report hearing whispers, the soft hum of conversation, or the faint clink of glasses when no one else is present. These sounds are subtle but unmistakable, creating the sense that former patrons or past inhabitants are replaying moments of enjoyment, raising invisible glasses, or sharing secrets just out of reach. Visitors often describe these experiences as fleeting and difficult to document, but consistent enough over time to confirm the presence of something beyond the ordinary. The history of Fahey's Irish Pub may help explain its supernatural activity. Situated in a building with a rich past, the bar has seen decades of life unfold within its walls. Former occupants, previous owners, and generations of patrons may have left energetic imprints that manifest in subtle, persistent ways. The laughter, shadows, cold spots, and object movements are likely reflections of this layered history, lingering as a gentle, playful reminder of all that has come before. Despite or perhaps because of its paranormal activity, Fahey's remains a beloved and lively establishment, Regulars often embrace the ghostly occurrences as part of the bar's unique charm, sharing stories of laughter echoing through empty rooms or fleeting figures glimpsed in the corner of their eye. Staff treat these phenomena with a mix of curiosity, respect, and humor, acknowledging the presence without fear, and occasionally using the tales to engage patrons intrigued by the supernatural. The spirits at Fahey's seem to coexist harmoniously with the living, offering subtle, intimate interactions rather than overt disturbances. For many, visiting Fahey's Irish pub is more than a night out tits, an experience of connection, both to the living patrons around them and to the lingering echoes of the past. The phantom laughter, fleeting shadows, cold drafts, and subtle movements all serve as reminders that the building carries memories of joy, camaraderie, and life long before the current generation of drinkers arrived. Guests leave not only with recollections of lively conversation and expertly poured drinks, but also with the awareness that they have shared this space with unseen companions, witnesses to the enduring energy of a place steeped in history. Ultimately, Fahey's Irish Pub is a testament to New Orleans' layered charm, where life and the spectral intertwine seamlessly. The laughter of the past resonates alongside the present. Shadows glide at the edges of perception, and cold spots whisper the presence of those who came before. It is a place where spirits, while unseen, leave their mark, quietly observing, playfully interacting, and reminding everyone who steps inside that the line between the living and the unseen can be far thinner than it seems. The Jemani Bar, located in the heart of New Orleans, is a site whose history is both tragic and deeply etched into the city's collective memory. Known originally as the Upstairs Lounge, this building gained notoriety for a catastrophic fire in 1973 that claimed 32 lives, leaving behind a profound sense of loss and sorrow. Today, the Jemani Bar occupies the space, but beneath its modern atmosphere and bustling nights lies a lingering presence, a quiet reminder of the lives abruptly ended decades ago. Patrons and staff have reported an array of paranormal activity that suggests the spirits of those lost in the fire continue to inhabit the bar, subtly communicating and reminding visitors of the tragedy that occurred. One of the most commonly reported experiences at the Jemani Bar is the hearing of disembodied voices. Guests often describe hearing whispers, faint conversations, or even cries that emerge when the bar is quiet, typically in the late hours of the night or during moments when the room is otherwise empty. These voices are soft and often unintelligible, yet their emotional weight is unmistakable. Visitors recount feeling a sudden chill or a tightness in the chest, as if the voices are drawing attention to themselves, a spectral echo of the panic and fear that must have filled the lounge during the tragic fire. Some witnesses claim to hear distinct phrases or the calling of names, as though the spirits are attempting to reach out, to be acknowledged by those who entered the space long after their departure from the physical world. In addition to auditory phenomena, visual encounters are commonly reported. Shadows have been seen moving across the upstairs area, flitting near corners or along the walls where the original lounge once hosted music and dancing. These shadows appear human in form, yet they remain translucent and fleeting, vanishing when approached directly. Patrons have described glimpsing figures near the stairwell or the bar area, as if the spirits are reliving the last movements before the fire, trapped in a loop of their final moments. Some have even reported seeing silhouettes of people raising their hands or gesturing toward exits, echoing the frantic attempts to escape that occurred on that fateful night. The visual manifestations are subtle but emotionally impactful, leaving those who witness them with a lingering awareness of the past tragedy. Cold spots are another frequent occurrence at the Jemani Bar. Visitors have felt sudden drops in temperature in specific areas, particularly near the staircase and the corners of the upstairs lounge. These chills are often accompanied by a sense of pressure or being watched, creating an unsettling but not overtly threatening atmosphere. Staff members have remarked that these cold pockets are localized, affecting one person at a time and dissipating almost as quickly as they appear, further reinforcing the impression that the spirits are present yet selective in their interactions. Some believe that these cold drafts are the residual energy of the fire, a lingering imprint of the intense heat, fear, and emotion from that tragic night. Occasionally, patrons have reported subtle physical interactions with the environment. Doors sometimes creak or swing slightly when no one is nearby. Chairs shift without explanation, and objects occasionally move as if nudged by unseen hands. These movements are never violent, but carry a silent insistence, a reminder that the upstairs area still holds echoes of past lives. Glasses and coasters have been known to topple or slide across tables without apparent cause, further reinforcing the sense that the spirits are present and aware, interacting with the physical world in understated ways that leave a profound impression on those who notice. The Jimani Bar also has an emotional weight that cannot be ignored. Many visitors report an overwhelming sense of melancholy or sorrow when exploring the upstairs lounge, as though the air itself retains the grief of those who perished in the fire. This emotional resonance often coincides with other paranormal phenomena, enhancing the sense that the building itself is a conduit for the spirit's presence. Staff members have recounted moments where they felt compelled to speak softly or move cautiously, as if their awareness of the lingering souls subtly guided their actions. For those who have spent time in the Jimani Bar, the combination of sights, sounds, and sensations creates a hauntingly unique experience. Patrons have shared stories of hearing faint jazz notes or the clinking of glasses echoing through empty rooms, a spectral recreation of the lounge's lively past. Others have sensed the presence of someone standing nearby, only to turn and find nothing but the dimly lit space around them. These encounters are often deeply moving, eliciting both a sense of fear and profound empathy for the spirits who remain tethered to the site of such a tragedy. Despite tour, perhaps because of its haunted history, the Jimani Bar continues to operate as a space where the living and the spectral intersect. Visitors are drawn not only to its drinks and music, but also to the palpable sense of history and memory that permeates the walls. The spirits seem to coexist with the living in a quiet, observational role, occasionally interacting with objects or manifesting visually or audibly, but never in a violent or harmful manner. There is a reverence that emerges naturally among patrons who are aware of the bar's history, a respect for the lives lost and the lingering energy that remains. Ultimately, the Jimani Bar stands as a testament to memory, tragedy, and the enduring presence of those who have passed. The voices, shadows, cold spots, and subtle movements all contribute to an atmosphere where the past is never fully gone, where the spirits of the 32 souls lost in the 1973 fire remain observers silent, participants in the ongoing life of the bar. For those who enter its doors, the experience is both haunting and unforgettably a place where history, sorrow, and the supernatural converge, leaving an indelible impression that lingers long after the last drink is poured and the lights are dimmed. The Pelican Club, nestled in the historic heart of New Orleans, is a space where elegance and refinement meet a lingering shadow of the past. Known for its sophisticated ambient lighting and carefully curated atmosphere, the club has long attracted a crowd seeking an upscale night out. Polished wood, vintage furnishings, and the faint aroma of fine cuisines set the stage for an inviting environment. Yet behind this polished veneer lies a spectral presence, a series of haunting phenomena that have become the club's whispered secret among staff and patrons alike. Over the years, reports have surfaced of phantom figures, disembodied voices, and an uncanny sense of being watched, revealing a darker layer to the club's otherwise glamorous reputation. One of the most frequently reported occurrences at the Pelican Club involves the appearance of ghostly figures. Patrons and staff alike have described glimpsing shadowy forms in doorways, at the edges of the dining rooms, or moving between tables. These apparitions are generally human in shape, often indistinct and partially transparent, appearing only for a moment before vanishing when observed directly. Some witnesses have recounted seeing figures dressed in attire reminiscent of past decades, vintage suits, flowing dresses, and hairstyles that suggest the spirits are remnants of the club's early patrons or former staff. The fleeting appearances are enough to provoke a chill or a sudden pause in conversation, leaving those present with the unmistakable sense that someone or something is observing them from the shadows. Disembodied voices are another hallmark of the Pelican Club's haunted reputation. Staff members have reported hearing their names called softly from empty rooms or faint snippets of conversation, drifting through the dining areas when no one else is present. The voices are subtle but persistent, often appearing during quiet periods, after the lunch rush, or late in the evening as the last patrons depart. Some staff describe the voices as urgent, yet gentle, almost coaxing, while others hear fragments of laughter or muted discussions as if echoing from a bygone era. The phenomenon is particularly striking because it often seems directed. Employees may turn to respond, only to find the space empty, reinforcing the notion that unseen guests are lingering, attentive to the living occupants. Cold spots are another frequent occurrence, further contributing to the eerie atmosphere. Patrons and staff have reported sudden drops in temperature in certain areas of the club, often near corners, doorways, or sections of the dining rooms where the apparitions are most frequently observed. These chilly sensations are localized, affecting one person at a time, and tend to vanish as quickly as they appear. The cold is often accompanied by a heightened sense of awareness, a feeling of being watched, or a subtle prickling along the skin, as though the unseen presence is attempting to communicate or make its existence known without causing direct harm. Many who experience these cold drafts describe them as simultaneously unnerving and strangely compelling, drawing attention to the mysterious energy within the space. Movement of objects is another subtle but notable feature of the Pelican Club's paranormal activity. Staff have occasionally noticed chairs slightly shifted from their original positions, menus sliding across tables, or silverware subtly displaced. While these occurrences are never destructive, they create the impression that invisible hands are interacting with the environment. Guests sometimes report noticing these movements, adding to the sense that the club is a living, breathing space, shared by both the living and the unseen. The phenomena are intermittent and unpredictable, making each experience unique and leaving a lasting impression on those who witness them. Visitors to the Pelican Club often describe an overall sense of presence that is difficult to define. Even in full, bustling evenings, there is a subtle awareness that the room is occupied by more than just the patrons and staff. Shadows flit in peripheral vision, a soft murmur lingers beneath conversations, and the occasional cold draft sweeps unnoticed through the air. Many who are sensitive to these energies feel a weight of history pressing gently upon the connection to the people who lived, worked, and socialized in this space long before it became the club it is today. The presence is not overtly malevolent, but rather lingering, like a memory that refuses to fade, quietly observing the ongoing life of the establishment. The club's haunting seems intimately tied to its history. Older records and local lore indicate that the building has seen generations of New Orleanians pass through its doors, celebrating milestones, courting romance, and working tirelessly behind the scenes. This accumulation of life, energy, and emotion may have created the conditions for the supernatural phenomena reported today. The ghostly figures, disembodied voices, and cold spots all appear to resonate with the vibrancy and lingering memories of those who occupied the space long ago. Rather than being malevolent, these spirits seem attached to the life of the club, perhaps observing with curiosity or even offering silent companionship to the living. Despite the spectral activity, the Pelican Club remains a thriving and beloved establishment. Patrons are drawn not only to the fine food, drinks, and atmosphere, but also to the mystique that surrounds the club. Staff often embrace the paranormal elements with a mixture of respect, caution, and curiosity, acknowledging the presence without fear. Visitors frequently remark on the energy of the place, sensing the delicate interplay between the living and the unseen. The haunting becomes part of the identity of the club, a subtle layer that adds depth to the experience of being there. Ultimately, the Pelican Club is a testament to the way history and memory can persist within a physical space. The ghostly figures in doorways, The whispered names, the cold drafts, and the minor disturbances all contribute to an environment where the past is palpably present. For those who step through its doors, the experience is both elegant and unnerving. A space where refinement and the supernatural coexist, where unseen eyes watch and where echoes of the past continue to mingle with the laughter, clinking glasses, and conversations of today's patrons. In every shadow, whisper, and chill, the spirits of the Pelican Club remind all who enter that some histories never truly fade. Latrobe's on Royal, an elegant event space tucked in the heart of New Orleans, is renowned for its grandeur, historic charm, and the lively celebrations it hosts. Weddings, parties, and gatherings often fill the space with laughter, music, and chatter. Yet beneath the festive veneer lies a more mysterious, rare, subtle, lingering presence that has been noticed by staff and guests over the years. Though today it functions primarily as an event venue rather than a bar, the building carries the echoes of the past, manifesting in strange sensations, unexplained movements, and spectral sightings that hint at a haunted history. Visitors to Latrobe's frequently report sudden cold drafts sweeping through rooms for no apparent reason. These chills are often strongest near the corners, doorways, or along the edges of the grand halls. During celebrations, when the space is filled with guests, the cold can feel almost isolating, as though a spectral presence is threading its way silently through the crowd. Some guests describe an almost physical awareness of being watched, a subtle prickle along the skin, or the sensation that eyes follow them even when the area behind them seems empty. The combination of the cold air and this heightened awareness can be unnerving, leaving a quiet tension beneath the otherwise festive atmosphere. Perhaps the most striking reports involve a mysterious figure, often described as a man in dark clothing. Guests and staff alike have recounted seeing him standing silently in the shadows, observing the celebrations without interacting. He is rarely detailed, more a shadowy outline than a clearly defined form, but his presence is unmistakable. Some witnesses say he appears near doorways, at the edges of the main hall, or at staircases leading to upper areas of the building. When approached, the figure vanishes as if it were never there, leaving only the lingering impression of being watched and the faintest chill in the air where he once stood. The spectral presence seems particularly active during large events. Staff members have observed chairs slightly shifting or glasses tilting as if nudged by invisible hands. Though these occurrences are subtle and never disruptive, patrons sometimes glance at a table to see a glass moved a fraction of an inch or a napkin shifted, only to find no one near. These minor disturbances, combined with the occasional shadowy figure, create an atmosphere that is part intrigue, part unease, and entirely mysterious. Guests often report a mixture of fascination and nervousness, sensing the presence without any threat but fully aware that something unseen is nearby. Acoustic anomalies also contribute to the haunted reputation of Latrobe's on Royal. During quiet moments before a party begins, after it ends, or during a lull in conversation, soft, barely audible sounds are sometimes reported. Footsteps echo in areas that are empty, faint whispers drift along the hallways, and the creak of stairs can be heard when no one is ascending or descending. These subtle sounds can make guests pause mid-conversation, their attention drawn to a space that appears otherwise unoccupied. For those sensitive to such energies, these auditory phenomena reinforce the feeling that the building is alive with memories of the past, still attentive to the comings and goings of the living. The energy of Latrobe's is said to be tied closely to its history. Records indicate that the building has stood for decades, witnessing countless events, gatherings, and moments of joy and, likely, moments of sorrow as well. Staff members speculate that the darkly dressed man might be a former resident, caretaker, or guest whose connection to the building remains unresolved. The lingering presence does not appear malicious. Rather, it is quietly observant, existing alongside the living in a way that is more like a shadow of memory than an active haunting. Guests have described feeling a subtle reassurance in his presence, as if he silently approves of the celebrations and wishes no harm, even while evoking an eerie fascination. Several guests have shared more intimate experiences with the space's paranormal activity. Some have reported fleeting glimpses of movement in the corners of their vision, a shadow flitting behind a curtain or a figure just beyond a doorway. Others have felt an inexplicable pressure on their shoulders, a gentle tap that disappears when they turn to see what caused it. The sensations are never aggressive but leave an undeniable impression, the kind of subtle, unsettling experience that remains vivid in memory long after a night's celebration has ended. Cold drafts, whispering sounds, and the sight of the shadowy figure all seem to reinforce the sense that La Trobe S is a place where time layers itself. The building itself becomes a vessel for past experiences, memories, and perhaps unresolved attachments. Even during the height of festivities, there is a sense that the walls themselves retain the energy of those who came before, observing, guiding, or simply lingering. The hauntings are a quiet presence, sometimes subtle, sometimes more pronounced, but never overtly threatening, more a reminder of the continuum between past and present, the living and the unseen. For visitors, Le Trobesson Royal offers a unique blend of elegance and mystery. The building's history, combined with the ghostly phenomena, transforms a simple event space into a place where the past is tangible, where unseen eyes watch, and where the spirits of the building's history seem to maintain their silent vigil. The cold drafts, shadowed figure, and subtle movements all contribute to an atmosphere that is unforgettable, an experience where celebration and spectral presence coexist in a single space. Ultimately, Le Trobesson Royal is more than an event venue. It is a place where memory, history, and the supernatural converge. Guests may come for weddings, parties, and gatherings, but they leave with an awareness of the unseen, an acknowledgement of the lingering spirits, and the understanding that some energies, once imprinted on a space, never truly fade. The elegant halls, the shadowed corners, and the cold drafts all serve as reminders that the past continues to watch, silently observing every moment, every celebration, every whispered toast that fills the air. The House of Blues Voodoo Bar in New Orleans is a space where music, history, and mystery intertwine. Known for its vibrant, live performances and energetic atmosphere, the venue attracts visitors from around the world, eager to experience both the music and the unique ambience. Yet, beneath the pulsating lights and the sound of instruments, lies a more enigmatic presence, one that staff and patrons have quietly acknowledged over the years. The bar's name, steeped in the mystique of voodoo traditions, seems almost fitting, as many visitors have reported sensations and sightings that hint at lingering spirits or residual energies inhabiting the space. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves shadowy figures appearing near the stage. Witnesses describe fleeting silhouettes, often human-shaped, moving in the corners of the room or standing just beyond the spotlight. These apparitions sometimes resemble former performers, dressed in old-fashioned clothing or costumes associated with earlier eras of New Orleans music. While they rarely interact with the living, their presence is palpable, giving the impression that the music itself has drawn them back to the bar. Patrons often feel a chill as these figures appear and vanish, as if the past performers are still eager to witness or participate in the ongoing performances. Unseen presences are not limited to visual sightings. Many guests report an uneasy feeling, a sensation that someone is nearby, observing from the shadows. This feeling intensifies during quieter moments, particularly when the bar is less crowded or when live music pauses between sets. Staff members have remarked that even in the bustling energy of a full house, there is a subtle awareness of another presence, an intangible weight that seems to move among the crowd lingering near tables, the bar, or the stage. Some visitors describe this as a shiver running down the spine or a sudden prickling of the skin, an instinctive recognition that the space is shared by more than just the living. Acoustic anomalies are also a hallmark of the voodoo bar's haunting. Patrons occasionally hear footsteps echoing across empty areas, faint whispers that cannot be traced to any speaker, or the soft creak of stage boards when no one is performing. These sounds are often fleeting, appearing during transitions between songs or in the quiet moments after the crowd has thinned. Many who experience these auditory phenomena describe them as both eerie and oddly comforting, as if the spirits are participating in their own subtle way, maintaining the rhythm and spirit of the bar even after the performers have left the stage. Movement of objects has been reported as well, though it is always subtle. Glasses may tilt slightly, chairs shift an inch or two, or a microphone stand may appear slightly out of place. These minor disturbances, though easily overlooked, contribute to the sense that the bar is alive with unseen energy. Patrons who notice these movements often experience a mix of curiosity and unease, sensing that the space is more than just a backdrop for music. It is a living, breathing environment that carries memories, energy, and perhaps even intentions from the past. Many visitors have remarked on the bar's distinct cold spots. Certain areas, particularly near the stage and along the side walls, can feel noticeably cooler than the surrounding space. These drops in temperature are often sudden and localized, sometimes coinciding with the appearance of shadowy figures or moments when a whispering sound is heard. Staff and guests alike have felt these cold drafts brush past them as if a spectral hand were passing by. A subtle reminder of the spirits that may still linger in the Voodoo Bar. The haunted reputation of the Voodoo Bar seems closely tied to its history and the rich cultural tapestry of New Orleans itself. The city's legacy of music, spiritual practices, and voodoo traditions infuses the space with an energy that is difficult to define. Some believe that the spirits present are former performers or patrons who felt a deep connection to the music and ambience, choosing to remain even after death. Others suggest that the bar's energy attracts residual impressions, echoes of past experiences imprinted onto the very walls and stageboard. Whatever the explanation, the result is an environment that feels alive in a way that is both vibrant and subtly supernatural. Guests often describe a duality in their experience at the Voodoo Bar. On one hand, it is a lively, colorful, and engaging space filled with music, dancing, and laughter. On the other, there is an undercurrent of mystery, a sense that the energy of past performers, patrons, and possibly spiritual entities continues to exist alongside the living. The combination of live performances and paranormal activity creates a unique atmosphere where the thrill of music and the intrigue of the unknown coexist seamlessly. For staff members, the hauntings are part of the bar's identity. Many have learned to navigate the subtle signs, a shadow in the corner, a sudden chill, or an inexplicable sound. Rather than fear these phenomena, they often treat them with a quiet respect, acknowledging the presence without disrupting the natural flow of the evening. Patrons who are aware of the bar's haunted reputation often find the experiences enhance the sense of place, adding an extra layer of fascination to an already unforgettable night. Ultimately, the Voodoo Bar at the House of Blues represents a blending of life, history, and the supernatural. Shadowy figures, cold drafts, unexplained sounds, and subtle movements all contribute to an atmosphere that is at once thrilling, eerie, and full of character. Guests come for the music and the vibrant social scene, but leave with an awareness that the bar holds more than just the energy of the living. It carries echoes of those who loved the music before them, spirits that continue to linger, silent yet ever present, guiding the rhythm of the night and reminding all who enter that, in New Orleans, the past never truly fades. Hermes Bar at Antoine's, tucked away from the main dining area of the legendary restaurant, is a place of both sophistication and mystery. While visitors come for expertly crafted cocktails, historic ambience, and intimate conversations, there is an undercurrent of unease for those sensitive to the unseen. Over the years, staff and patrons alike have reported experiences that suggest the bar is more than just a setting for fine drinks. It is a place where the echoes of the past linger, where shadows seem to move with a life of their own, and where a presence occasionally makes itself known in unmistakable ways. One of the most frequently reported phenomena at Hermes Bar is the inexplicable movement of glasses and objects. Patrons have noted that a glass of water or a cocktail can shift slightly on the bar surface, seemingly without human intervention. Chairs occasionally tilt as if someone just rose from them, and napkins sometimes slide across tables. These occurrences are subtle, often going unnoticed unless one is paying close attention. Yet they are consistent enough that both staff and visitors have come to accept them as part of the bar's character. Some suggest that these movements are playful, a way for the spirits to interact with the living without causing alarm, while others feel a more solemn, watchful energy at work. Shadows at Hermes Bar are another source of eerie fascination. Guests have described flickers in the corners of their vision, a shadow crossing the floor, moving along walls, or appearing briefly behind bar shelves. These shadows are rarely fully formed, often resembling human outlines but lacking definitive features. When observed directly, they vanish as if they were never there. Some witnesses report a sensation that these shadows are observing them, gliding just out of reach, aware of their attention, yet remaining untouchable. The flickering often seems tied to the movement of lights, reflections, or candle flames, but even when the lighting is stable, the shadows persist, suggesting a presence that is not entirely bound by the physical environment. The most distinct and chilling phenomenon at Hermes Bar involves the occasional appearance of a man in a black suit. Staff describe him as tall, immaculately dressed, and silent, appearing at the far end of the bar or near the door before vanishing almost immediately. Patrons who have glimpsed him often feel a sudden drop in temperature, a prickling sensation on the skin, or a subtle pressure in the air. The man in black never speaks or interacts with anyone, yet his presence is undeniable. Staff have learned to acknowledge him without alarm, understanding that his appearances are brief, controlled, and seemingly intentional, as if he is observing rather than intruding. The atmosphere in Hermes Bar is heightened by these spectral occurrences. During quiet evenings, when the hum of conversation is low and the music softens, the movements of glasses, the flicker of shadows, and the presence of the man in black are more noticeable. Guests often describe a combination of fascination and unease, feeling both entertained and unsettled by the subtle paranormal activity. The bar's historic ambience amplifies this effect, with its dark wood panels, vintage, and intimate lighting, creating an environment where the past seems tangible and the unseen feels near. Acoustic anomalies add another layer to Hermes Bar's haunted reputation. Some guests report hearing footsteps when the floorboards are empty or the faint scraping of a chair being pulled across the floor when no one is present. Whispered sounds, sometimes almost intelligible, have been recorded by staff but remain unexplained. These auditory experiences are often fleeting, leaving only a sense of presence behind. Combined with visual phenomena and object movement, they create an immersive atmosphere where the line between the living and the spectral is blurred. Regular patrons and staff have come to recognize subtle patterns in the haunting. The man in black often appears during moments of transition, such as when a new group enters, a toast is made, or the bar empties at closing time. The moving glasses and shifting shadows seem more pronounced when people are focused on the bar or deep in conversation, as though the spirits are drawing attention in gentle, controlled ways. While none of the occurrences are aggressive or threatening, they leave a lasting impression, prompting both intrigue and respect for the unseen presence that occupies the space alongside the living. The history of Hermes Bar at Antoine's contributes to its spectral reputation. The restaurant itself has stood for generations, witnessing countless celebrations, farewells, and moments of both joy and sorrow. Many believe that the lingering spirits of former staff, patrons, or individuals with a strong connection to the bar, choosing to remain even after death. The man in black, in particular, has been speculated to be a former manager, a devoted bartender, or an influential patron whose attention never fully left the space. Whatever his identity, his brief appearances and the subtle disturbances throughout the bar suggests a desire to remain connected, a silent vigil over the activities that continue within the bar he once knew. Visitors often leave Hermes Bar with a dual impression, one of enjoyment and cultural immersion, and one of mystery and lingering awareness. The movement of glasses, flickering shadows, and sightings of the man in black create a unique environment where history, the supernatural, and the living coexist. Guests may come for the drinks and ambience, but they depart with a sense that the space is alive in ways beyond ordinary perception. A place where the past continues to watch, guiding, observing, and reminding all who enter that some presences never fully leave. In the end, Hermes Bar at Antoine's is more than a historic venue for cocktails and conversation. It is a location where subtle paranormal activity enhances the atmosphere, creating an experience that is unforgettable for those sensitive to the unseen. The bar's spectral elements, the moving objects, flickering shadows, and the enigmatic man in black serve as a reminder that in New Orleans, history and the supernatural often walk hand in hand, leaving traces of the past for the living to sense, respect, and wonder at. The Pharmacy Museum in New Orleans is a historic site that preserves the city's rich medical and apothecary history, drawing visitors fascinated by its old-world charm, unique artifacts, and the stories of a bygone era. While it functions primarily as a museum, the venue occasionally hosts special events, transforming the space into a bar area where guests can enjoy drinks, socialize, and experience the building in a more intimate, lively way. Yet, those familiar with the museum's reputation know that during these events, the bar becomes more than just a gathering place. It awakens echoes of the past, where spirits of former apothecaries, patients, and patrons linger, creating an atmosphere both captivating and unsettling. Many guests report experiencing subtle, unexplained movements throughout the bar area. Glasses, bottles, and utensils sometimes shift slightly without being touched, and table settings can appear slightly disturbed, as if someone unseen has just moved through the room. These occurrences are often brief and easily overlooked by casual visitors, but they are persistent enough to have been noticed repeatedly over the years. Attendees have described feeling a sense of attention, a feeling that the objects are being moved deliberately rather than randomly, as if invisible hands are tidying, adjusting, or interacting with the living in a playful yet eerie manner. Whispers are another hallmark of the Pharmacy Museum bar's spectral activity. Guests often report hearing murmured conversations or soft voices echoing across the room, even when the bar is relatively quiet or empty. The whispers are never fully coherent, sometimes resembling fragments of sentences, names, or phrases. Some guests claim to have heard someone calling their name, or snippets of conversations that seem to originate from no particular direction. These auditory phenomena contribute to a sense that the spirits of past apothecaries and patrons remain connected to the building, observing the ongoing activities and perhaps replaying memories of events long past. Temperature anomalies further enhance the haunting atmosphere. Attendees have frequently reported sudden cold spots that appear along the bar, near doorways, or around particular corners of the room. These chills can be brief but sharp, leaving guests shivering despite the warmth of the gathering. Often, these cold spots coincide with other phenomena: an object moving, a whisper being heard, or a shadow passing just out of sight. The combined effect is a tangible reminder that the spirits present are active and aware, subtly asserting their presence in ways that cannot be ignored. Visual manifestations, while less common, are sometimes reported during these special events. Shadows flicker across walls and floors, sometimes taking shapes that resemble human figures, often near the original pharmacy counters or along the stairways leading to old storage rooms. Some guests claim to see the outline of a former apothecary in a long coat, moving among the tables before disappearing when directly looked at. These apparitions rarely interfere with guests but leave a lasting impression, evoking both curiosity and a creeping sense of unease. The museum's haunted reputation is deeply rooted in its history. Established in the early 19th century, the building served as a working apothecary for decades, tending to patients, preparing remedies, and witnessing countless personal dramas. Many believe that the spirits of those who lived, worked, and died here remain tethered to the space, drawn to the energy of human interaction, music, and activity that accompanies special events. These spirits, it seems, are not malevolent, but they are attentive, observing the living and occasionally making their presence known through subtle disturbances. Staff and event organizers are often the first to notice the patterns of the haunting, Bartenders have described objects shifting slightly as they pour drinks, while servers have felt an invisible brush along their arms or sensed an unseen presence following them through the room. Guests frequently remark on an eerie feeling, a sense that they are not entirely alone, even when surrounded by friends. Those who are aware of the museum's haunted history often embrace the sensation, finding that it adds an unusual, thrilling layer to the evening's celebration. Music and ambient noise interact intriguingly with the paranormal occurrences. During events, when jazz or contemporary music plays softly in the background, some report hearing additional faint sounds layered underneath the creak of a door, a whispered warning, or the shuffle of footsteps. These sounds are fleeting and subtle, but their timing often seems to coincide with emotional or climactic moments of the evening, heightening the sense that the spirits are responsive, even participating in the energy of the event. Guests' reactions vary widely. Some are captivated, observing each flicker of shadow or every unexplained movement with fascination and awe. Others feel a thrill of fear, a tense awareness that the celebration is taking place in a shared space, with invisible participants who have a vested interest in the history and life of the museum. Even those skeptical of the supernatural often leave with stories to tell, small personal encounters that linger in memory. A glass tipping slightly, a whisper at the edge of hearing, or a fleeting glimpse of a figure disappearing behind a doorway. Ultimately, the Pharmacy Museum Bar, during special events, offers more than drinks and socialization. It provides an encounter with history in a uniquely intimate way. The spirits of former apothecaries and patrons seem drawn to the bar's energy, emerging subtly through object movement, cold drafts, whispers, and fleeting shadows. Visitors leave with the impression that while the event may conclude and the lights dim, the building itself remains alive with echoes of the past. The presence of these spirits reminds all who attend that the Pharmacy Museum is a space where the past lingers, silently observing, subtly interacting, and forever entwined with the energy of the living. For those who step inside during a special event, the experience is never just a celebration. It is a brush with history and the supernatural. A reminder that, in New Orleans, the past never truly leaves, and the spirits of the city's storied inhabitants continue to watch over their old haunts. And there you have it, 25 of the most haunted bars in New Orleans, where the spirits don't just live in the bottles behind the counter. From shadowy figures lingering in the corners to phantom footsteps echoing after the lights go out. These places remind us that history clings to the city in more ways than one. So, the next time you raise a glass in the Big Easy, take a moment to look over your shoulder, listen closely to the laughter around you, and ask yourself, are you sure everyone here is alive? Thank you for joining me on this chilling journey. If you enjoyed wandering through haunted New Orleans with me tonight, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this story with fellow lovers of the paranormal. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and remember, sometimes the past isn't finished with us yet.